Oh well. Some things you can't control, Travis. The stream's starting right now, so here we go. I believe so. Okay. Okay, they're gonna start. We're gonna be quite. We're going live right now.
Mm-hmm. The live track is working.
That's good. That's good news.
Itzel.
Okay. Yeah, for some reason we're not seeing the screen there. Yeah, but I'm not seeing you either, right, Travis? You're not seeing me, right?
Correct. Black screen.
Yeah, they've actually got it. If you open in another window, you can go to the World Tour site. It's streaming live, but we're not on.
You're watching the live stream now, and
Hey, Christian. Yeah, we don't have a screen anymore, and I can't see Travis. I mean, we just got a black screen. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Busan SUP Open. We're here on day number 2. We got distance racing in the water. The race just started for the men, and we're just getting underway with the women in a minute here. So stand by for the start of the women. It's another beautiful day, a little more overcast, but beautiful conditions here in Busan at Wangali Beach. I've got Travis Grant on the line with me to give you the blow-by-blow of this race. Travis, how's it to be connecting remotely to Korea?
thanks, Tristan. Yeah, couldn't make it, unfortunately. So in Oahu, watching it from a computer, like I guess everyone else who's watching the live stream. So we're going to be seeing what you're seeing for this quick 10-kilometer course race. And
awesome, Travis. And for those of you who don't know, Travis is one of the legends of the sport. Still very much competitive, but in a new stage of his life, so still obviously competitive. Where are you at, Travis? You still racing, or have you hung your racing hat up?
For the elites, obviously I'm 40 years old this year, so I'm not going to be tackling these young guys. Obviously, when you see Shrimpy and Rye running around at like 18 and 16 years old, but no, I still like to hold my own and race with guys. So I'm a little jealous that they're out here paddling and I'm sitting and watching, but that's the way it is. So hopefully I can still stay involved with this great sport.
Awesome, Travis. And here we see the lead pack of the men. We've got, looks like we have, it's kind of hard to see exactly. It looks like Rye might be in the front there, Al.
Yeah, I'm just pulling up the live tracker as well. Obviously, they're in a batch. It could be Itzel, but obviously, kind of no surprises who's in front. There should be Daniel Hazulio, obviously Itzel. Even though yesterday was a sprint race and we had those 4 guys in the sprint race are probably going to be the same guys in the lead pack for the marathon. Unfortunately, Kristen Anderson and Kaylin can't race due to Korea's strict rules with COVID still. It's unfortunate that still happens. I think they're probably going to lift those rules soon. I know Japan just lifted their COVID restrictions. There's the open race. Is that the open race, Trishan?
That is the open race, yes. Sorry, yeah, that was the start of the open
So,
race, not the women. The women are going, they're actually having a separate race, so this will be the open race that are chasing the pros now.
maybe I'll be open racing soon before you know it, because the open race is actually a fun event to do if you don't consider yourself elite. I'm doing a lot shorter course, chasing out men. So it'll be interesting to see how they mix in later. It could also be a strategy for the open men, the pro men, I should say, to mix through the open course, and it can be said they can make a move as sort of part of the race. I kind of like it. So we'll see if that does happen on this course. See if they ever do cross paths. Not sure if that's going to be a plan or not.
Yeah, I think it's kind of cool that they get to be on the same race course as the pros. A lot shorter course, a 6 kilometer course. So they're doing essentially 2 laps. The pros are doing 3 laps. It's a 3 kilometer lap, and then there's a final lap that's just 1 kilometer. So it'll be a bit of a sprint lap to the finish for the top pros. Travis, what would be your strategy if you were coming into that last lap? Are you going to save enough in the tank to be able to really burn it, or what would be your strategy over the long game?
Yeah, race strategy is a good question. Obviously, a lot of the new guys always seem to go off the blocks and try and prove who they are and hold their own, and the more experienced guys will normally sit back and sort of wait for a time to strike. Being a course race, you sort of be silly to go early. You should just be sitting and relaxing, and then sort of everyone's plan will be to save it for the last. However, it looks a little bit bumpy out there, so it's not bump, but it's enough chop to sort of throw you off your game, so you can't just sit along and get dragged along in a wash. I think I'm going to guess that's Claudia out in front. Back to the open with looks like Shrimpy right behind him. From what we're seeing, good to see the drone up there soon. You've had sunny weather all week there, yeah. Obviously, overcast is nice if you're a paddler, not so much a cameraman.
Yeah, exactly. Yesterday was absolutely sweltering. It was sweltering. It was pretty hot. Beautiful weather, beautiful water conditions. A little bit onshore in the afternoon, which helped take the edge off the temperature. Today, very different. A little bit overcast, but similar wind conditions. It's a pretty accessible open venue here that allows you to kind of everybody to paddle at the same time. It's not a difficult venue.
No, it looks great from what I've seen. The sprints yesterday was really entertaining, really good footage too. So it's definitely a starboard of, I'm going to say Itzel, but again, it's kind of hard to tell from back here. Definitely Shrimpy on his NSP in second, and then is that Rye on his SIC board in third. Jessica's taking the lead now.
No, I think
again they're going.
Yeah, go on.
They're going harder than I expected, to be honest. For being a small group, normally a small group can control a little more because there's not as much attacks than a big group. So again, I'll sort of see what happens. I think at the moment Shrimpy's doing well to be sitting on his wash. And the open, as you can see right here, there's really no race experience at all because everyone's just on their own. Paddling out sort of shows the difference in racing. But again, this is an open race. This is more of a fun race. So it's good to see all the locals getting out there and enjoying it. Was it a light onshore wind today or cross-shore wind?
It'll be kind of a light onshore. Yesterday it was sort of light onshore, which was nice for the sprints. It was a tiny little bit of bump. You couldn't really see it from the beach, but you could see the athletes taking advantage of it.
Okay, so they're back in the
line.
Leaders are back in the line. I'm going to say Itzel, Shrimpy, Rye, and then who would that be in fourth? Is that Hazulio?
I think it's Hazulio in fourth. I think it's Rye's on the starboard in second. I think it's Shrimpy. Third is Itzel, and fourth I think is Daniel Hazulio. But I think Daniel is definitely looking for redemption. In London, he did the probably, as you're saying, the mistake of leading the race for a lot of the distance, and Connor and Arthur and Clement kind of were right on his tail and just let him do a lot of the work, and then took him over in the latter stages of the race. But a very different environment over there as well.
Yeah, Hazulio does like the flat water, and he does like to show off. I do agree. So, yeah, he might be changing his tactics here today. I would too. It's said I can't see, but isn't Bry on a SIC? Yeah.
No, he normally is on an SIC. Unfortunately, with this whole board debacle of not being able to get the boards here in time, he's riding a starboard as well. So
Oh, unfortunately, I did hear about that. The boards from London, due to the Queen's funeral, didn't make it on the aeroplane. So all the guys, being an elite athlete, used to a certain board, it's not that they're not good enough to switch to a new board. It's just sort of, it could be unsettling for some people to adjust. However, I mean, that's the nature of racing around the world. You might have to, and this is a good example of people adjusting and the community coming together to let everyone race and find boards for the guys. That's going to
absolutely.
be the four. Gee, wow, is that right? Really pushing that hard already? Gee,
Yeah, it's. I think Rise on a mission of mercy. He has revealed the kind of inner samurai there after yesterday's race. I guess he took all the guys by surprise on the inside buoy with like a full samurai shout, and Itzel was like, "What the hell is happening?" And then he just
That'd have
overtook
been
everyone.
cool.
So yeah, it was a pretty cool moment, I think. Yeah, no, it was super cool. But yeah,
Is
it
that
looks like
Dan
Ryan
Miller? Is
first.
that Dan Miller on the SIC on the
No, it's on
Who's
the
that second
NSP
place with
is
Shrimpy?
second
Shrimpy.
place is Itzel, and he's on an Infinity. So he's on an
Oh,
Infinity
that's
board.
Infinity.
Fortunately, the local distributor were able to provide an Infinity board for him to use. Shrimpy is in third. He's got his own board he brought over, the NSP kind of distance board he uses.
Mm-hmm.
And Rye on the starboard, not on his own board, and that's what made it even more impressive. His performance yesterday, digging deep and finding form against some super
Oh
fast
wow, Rye
sprinters
just took off
in
on
that
the buoy
final.
turn there. The two Rye just doubled his lead, and that is what happens on buoys. If you are tussling with someone and the guy turns and burns, you can see he just doubled his lead. So Trippy was quick to react. He's trying to get on his wash. Um, Hopefully he can, but yeah, like good burst of speed for Rye while the other two are duking it out. Um, Early days still. I mean, we've got
Definitely.
3 laps, but it is short race. It's only 10 kilometers, so that's like around 6 something miles. So it's not that far for a seasoned athlete.
Yeah, exactly. I think Rye's on that mission of get ahead and stay ahead and break away from the pack, trying to break that draft train so everybody's not sitting on him. That's one of the strategies, right? If you can break away and get distance. I remember Connor used to do that a lot in his early days of racing.
Yeah, if you back yourself and you think you can break away like Michael Booth always does as well, yeah, it's a good. Danny Ching used to do it all the time. It is a good tactic. It can work. However, if it's always I got taught to race, you got to leave something for the end. So he's definitely going for that tactic. He obviously won yesterday, so he's probably on a high, has a lot of confidence, and so he's probably doing what he knows best. And he's like, well, Boothie isn't here, Connor isn't here. So you're going to sort of maybe different race tactic, and this is what he's trying to do. If the really really fast guys were here, he might have a different tactic and conserve a little. So see what happens. I mean, obviously the guys aren't unfit, so he's got to be careful there. You got to know what your competition's like. So Shrimpy's back on his wash already. Hopefully having a breather. Distance course racing. Is that Hazulia there turning the buoy now? He's sort of
That's
falling back.
Julio. Yeah, yeah,
So
that's Daniel
Hazulia's in
Julio.
fifth. Yeah, wow,
So,
Ryan Shrimpy, the two Japanese kids, taking it to the older guys early in the race.
absolutely. Absolutely. And what I will say and what I noticed yesterday, those two, in terms of their board skill and control, definitely had the edge on a lot of the guys. Actually, Claudio Nica too, but their buoy turning capabilities, like going in at speed into the buoy turn and doing kind of that snap turn around the buoy, Rise just got
It's
it down pat. I mean, it's impressive.
it's funny you say that, Tristan. I mean, that's even happens even when I was paddling. Is the young guys for some reason seem to have their skills like board turning and starts and all the little things are really down pat, and then for some reason the seasoned guys are better at distance racing or grinding. This course will suit the smaller, agile guys better because there are a lot of boy turns. But it's funny how that happens. I mean, you've been paddling your whole life. Like Azulio should be one of the best guys at the boy turns, but the young guys really do. Turns are hard too, remember, because you've got to get in a powerful position. You got to dig the board, spin it around, and do from stop, start sprint race to get going again. So it's very taxing, and if done right, I mean, you can say you double your lead, and then the guys behind, every time they do a turn, they're having a rest, and you're now paddling at full speed. So So the gap just keeps opening up, and obviously you're aware of that as a paddler. And there's nothing you can do about it sometimes if these fit young guys just keep turning and burning on you. So, like I said, I'm pretty impressed. The two young Japanese kids taking it to a bunch of experienced guys behind who aren't old or slow at turns. They're really good. These guys are just next level on their buoy turns, and they're using their asset in this buoy turn distance race.
Absolutely, and I think it's interesting. I think it comes from their upbringing too. Both of them coming from the island of Okinawa in the south of Japan.
Beautiful
Definitely
island.
a strong waterman culture there, where they surf, they paddle OC ones, they do all the different water sports, and I think that well-rounded skill set really works for having that, like the full bag of tricks, as you say, for like starts, buoy turns, all aspects of riding on their stand-up boards.
So who's that in third, Tristan?
That's Itzel Delgado in third. He's on the Infinity, so he's definitely gunning for a good result here. He had a disappointing result in London after what was a great, if a little controversial, result over in Santa Monica, as Candace and I discussed yesterday. But he played a great game over there. Unfortunately, in London, a little bit disappointing for him. But here he's looking for redemption. Had a great finish in the sprints yesterday, finishing in second.
Okay, let's see. Oh, he's kind of cruising actually, so he's taking a rest. This is another place you can really make ground on transitions. Australian Ironman, the run leg. Oh, he's fallen again. He's fallen again. But that's proved to be his asset when he falls, right? Or as he saw yesterday, or he did go a little harder. So that's Claudia in third, Itzel in fourth. Is that correct? Oh, sorry, other way around.
I think it's Danielle. Oh, right. It's Claudio who's caught up there. That's Danielle in fifth. Itzel in fourth. So interesting. That's the end of the first lap. So they've just done the first 3 kilometer lap. And first, Shrimpy taking advantage, as you said, of that entry to the water, Rye rushing it and getting caught up, and Shrimpy waiting and able to get the edge on Rye there.
We got 2 more of those transitions right there, correct?
Exactly. There's going to be another 2 kind of inside beach turns.
That'll be good to watch. Hopefully the camera's on there. You really see people's fatigue when they have to get off the board and do something like that. It's only a short transition compared to a potentially longer one. So that's where we're going to see the fatigue setting in, jumping on and off your board there. So I said I look forward to seeing that, and you should be able to sort of pick who's the freshest. Claudia actually looked good in that transition, but again, he's not with the lead pack, which I'm very surprised. So it's going to be hard to catch these two, to be honest. Obviously, I imagine these two have quite a rivalry, being from the same island, and I know how passionate Japan is with sort of, being the best. So these two kids are going to really duke it out. I think there's a little internal competition going on here, not just for the APP win, but also for the, for the bragging rights, I guess, between the two.
Absolutely. And actually, it's funny, we had a chat with Connor in London, and he was talking about how when he was obviously one of the early day guys, but he was a Grom at the time, and you and Danny and all those guys were kind of the guys in the spotlight at the time, and he was the young gun coming up. And now he sees the changing of the guard, that he's now you 10 years ago. And you got these kids like Rye and Shrimpy that are just freaking pushing so hard. So interesting to watch.
While we're on Shrimpy, just to let you know, I used to paddle against his dad, Shrimpy's father, Taku. So Taku's done a few Molokai. He's a lot older than me. I would say Shrimpy's realised he's not going to pull Rye around. So he's taking a breath, and Rye's a fall there. So Shrimpy's dad, Taku, has got good racecraft. He's been racing a long time. And back in the day, he used to always talk to me about strategy and racing. Since he was a senior now, now his son's racing. So just show stand-up's been here for a while. Race strategy hasn't changed over the years. Just the equipment's gotten a lot smaller and narrower, which basically means for me it's like everything, but it's also gotten a lot more taxing on the body. It's not as forgiving as it used to be. So you've got to be really agile, and it takes a lot of energy to be so agile. And that's why you see sort of guys falling or twitching. It's not that they're good athletes; they're just on very elite equipment from what we used to race. Oh, this guy's feeling it. Local number 10.
Number 10. I think this is coming in. This is some of the amateur races finishing their first leg. It looks like.
No.
This could be. Actually, no. This could be the
same
back
colors.
end. Yeah, you're right. Sorry. Yeah.
This is This is the local
Absolutely.
crew.
Yeah, this is the backpack. So, out of this, we had Asia qualifiers. Han Sung-Hu is like one of the top Korean athlete at the moment, definitely leading the charge, and he did well in London as well, along with Choi Ji-won in the women's field, who both of them representing Korea well on the international stage. And then there was some
You see it
extra
home. You see
local
it.
wild
Yeah,
cards.
keep going.
Yeah, no, just extra
You see how
local wild cards
taxing
that joined
the crew. You see how taxing these turns are. You see, that's why the good thing is getting the pros come to the venue like Korea. You know, they want to be good paddlers and they see how fast the really good paddlers are, and hopefully it's motivating to be like, oh wow, okay, so we'll get a program, we'll train a little harder. Like it's good to see how fast the professionals go. I don't know if you've ever been skiing or you're a running race, and when the pros rock up, you just wonder how on earth do they go that fast. This is what the locals are seeing in the sport of stand up, and then hopefully said it when the good guys leave, they'll see the level, and you don't know how fast you can go until you see someone do it. So that's the idea of traveling around the world and showing off this great sport of stand up paddling.
Exactly, and definitely looking at a breakaway pack here. The kids from Okinawa showing everyone what's up. Neither of them have reached that 20-year-old age. Yeah, Rai, I think just 19 now. Shrimpy just turned 16. So both of them, really early stage in their career and already putting on great performances.
Yeah, it's impressive, and also I thought they might not like to admit it, but since they're both from Japan, they both probably push each other a little more, internally. So it happens in most, Hawaii's always had battles between two guys, and Australia always had good guys battling. So it's in a weird way, it's good for your own country to have all this competition because it makes you rise as well. So it's definitely between these two. Shrimpy's definitely playing a more tactful race. Rye might be just trying to show his dominance right now because he's not afraid to lead. So we'll see how that plays out at the end of the race. But that's all I got for here.
And I think Rai, I was saying like yesterday, that performance was phenomenal because obviously he won the heat, won the sprint division of this event of the Busan SUP Open. But I think more than anything, as an athlete, probably to realize in yourself that you've got that in you, you've got that grit and determination to pull back and create those kind of victories that seem impossible. I think that's got to do a lot for his confidence in any kind of race, right?
Oh, for sure. I mean, the fact that he did come back, yeah, he's on a high right now. I mean, he's paddling like it too. So his confidence probably went through the roof in that yesterday with the competition that's here. Once you realize, it's sort of one of those things, when you win a race, you realize that, oh my God, I can win a race. And some top athletes might never win. They're really good. And, it's not till you get that win, then all of a sudden you see him start winning more. It happened with Connor as well. When he was a kid, they win one race, they expect to win them all now. So it's done great with his confidence. And they said, Shrimpy's doing everything he can. But the fact they've broken away from three fantastic paddlers in Claudia Itzel and Daniel Hazuo is so early is impressive. Let's see if they can hold it. Let's see if they're young enough. They're still pulling away, if you ask me, in what is a minimal bump. Yeah, I mean, well done to the two Japanese kids.
Yeah, we're probably like halfway through this second lap, so probably about 1.5K into this second 3-lap part of the course. And it looked like Daniel Hasuyo had made a jump and got into third, but like you say, they're trailing a little bit. These guys are broken away for sure.
It's funny, Rye definitely is a lot bigger kid than Shrimpy, so he looks like he has a power advantage if he needs it. Also, that does come at an energy cost, where Shrimpy in bumps can be a little lighter and nimble, and on his transitions. So, Shrimpy's definitely got to play to those strengths. He definitely has to wait for the downwind and the transitions, whereas Rye will definitely take advantage of his strength in the upwind/sidewind. So, this is obviously coming from someone who used to race. This will be interesting. They're basically watching their stroke. They're nearly matching stroke for stroke for rating. So, yeah, well done to the two kids from Japan. I don't know who I'm going for, Tristan.
I know, and it's interesting to see the two different styles, because you got Rai, who's obviously a lot taller, got a little bit more leverage and pull. He had a kind of more fluid glide-like stroke, and then Shrimpy's got that low down, just powerhouse strategy. and he was definitely pushing to take the lead. Rye realized he had to up his cadence in order to keep stay in front. But yeah, interesting battle for sure.
Yeah, good on. What's the city like in Busan? Is it quite a nice city where you are?
Oh, it's absolutely beautiful. We're in Seonggu, which is the beachside town that's Gwangali Beach, which is where this event is held, with that iconic bridge that sits behind it. We saw on those beautiful drone shots we just checked out a moment ago. But it's a bustling city. Last night was it was the crack off. There was all the restaurants and bars are alive. It's packed streets. They did a massive drone show, 500 drones in the air, portraying the APP logo and the world tour, the Busan to all the athletes. It was, it's definitely 5-star hospitality. The people here are just so welcoming and so excited about, the international athletes coming to town. I think it's
Korea's
it's an exciting time.
Korea's trying to make a big push, for stand-up. This is the KAPP? Am I correct?
You're correct. Yes. So we created kind of an affiliate of us over here to represent us in this region, because obviously Asia is far away, and honestly, about 90+% of the people, really, it's challenging to speak, because we don't speak Korean obviously, and they don't speak English. So we have a great team that kind of do a lot of the translation, but to be able to operate and work here, they do a fantastic job. They've got a great network, and they're really pushing to create an exciting future for the sport here.
And I believe, I mean, this was the inaugural event, but as you were telling me off air, this is you guys have got a 3-year deal at the moment to come back at 3 years, and I mean, I myself want to come 1 year to experience the food and the culture, and that's sort of why I love the sport. Is that true? You got 3 years in South Korea there?
Absolutely. Yeah, we got a minimum of 3 years, but I was on the boat with the mayor the other night, and he said, we never want this event to leave. We want to build a legacy here. They want this to be the stand-up paddling capital of Asia, and that's their goal. Certainly they've positioned it as the stand-up paddling capital of Korea, but they would like this to be a center point in Asia. And we're going to be building a full-blown academy over here with them, and a lot of stuff going on over here. So it's exciting, and it's one of those things. It's the early days of the sport here, so it's probably 8 to 10 years ago for the US. But with
it looks like a great spot.
Everybody has for this sport. Yeah,
you got a beautiful beach.
It's a beautiful spot.
Yeah, you got like not flat water, but sort of an ocean, so a little bit of bump to mix things up a little bit of a swell maybe coming in, and like I said, the main thing is you got a beautiful beach. For your exciting starts and finishes.
Exactly, and I think the nice thing about it is it's really suitable for everyone. There's no real dangers there. It's generally a predominant onshore wind that'll come in the afternoon. So anybody who's not experienced will get washed into the beach most likely. And the beach kind of acts as its own kind of perimeter. You got the bridge bordering the beach, so you got this beautiful area to paddle. And you can see the land from everywhere. So it's safe, it's accessible, and it's a beautiful place to paddle, honestly.
Rye's really looking quite comfortable out front there, to be honest. He looks like he's paddled there for years, even though this is probably the first time he's ever led an international race. He's looking comfortable. Oh, he's just picked it up there. He's actually sprinting, as you can see in the background. We've got the openings coming around. And Shrimpy's doing everything he can to hang on. So I hope Shrimpy can to make it exciting. But yeah, Rye's definitely showing his dominance. Oh. That was a lucky call.
That might. He might have been searching for his SIC. Yeah, I think Rye was searching for his SIC board that he knows there. But still making it happen and creating great pace, as you said, and looking really comfortable and relaxed.
I just had a look around. It's when an athlete looks around like that, they're obviously a little unsure about themselves. Obviously, he put a big effort in, and he wants to see if it worked, and it didn't. So if I ever see someone turn around, normally it's a sign of like, oh, good, they tried really hard, now they're recovering. So Shrimpy can either, we've lost them anyway. We're back on the open. Shrimpy can do. There's a lot of things going on in a race, and it's hard to sort of pick it all when you're exhausted and you got to try to think what the other people are doing. But hopefully Shrimpy saw that and realised now is a good time to attack if he can, because Rye's trying to rest, or Shrimpy needs to rest as well, because no, he's probably going to do that again to him. So anyway, said I might be analysing it a little too much, but there's a live tracker now. It's hard to see the live tracker because they're doing a course race, so it's a little hard for the people at home to follow who's where and when, since they're doing the laps. But I guess that's what we're for, right, Tristan? That's what you're for, Tristan. You're the eyes on the ground to see how they come when they come around the
Well,
beach.
you can see those, you can see that front pack coming out from the inside buoy, and you see the rest of the guys heading into the inside buoy. So there's a big spread now for all the athletes across, this section of the course. And the Japanese really have broken away completely. But it'd be interesting to see that battle for third, fourth, fifth, and if those guys can manage to catch the Japanese up.
Around the Monster Energy can, heading into the beach for their second lap of 3.5. I believe they're doing 3 big laps and they're doing 1 short sprint lap. Obviously, you're going to see some real high speed in that short sprint lap. The only thing is, it's a short sprint, a lot of turns, so with stand-up, it's hard to pass someone when there's turns, so the straightaway is the only place you can really pass someone in a stand-up race. Again, the athletes know that, so we'll see what tactics happen there. Yeah, they've really broken away, these two. Very impressive.
That's Itzel Delgado. He's looking to catch. He's looking for a strong result here to really consolidate his position on the overall rankings this year.
Did Itzel win the race in California?
He did. He won that distance race. He played a really smart game. He had his GPS system on. He navigated the course perfectly and took the win. So an impressive performance from Itzel, and mature as well to see the lead pack kind of breaking away and going out to sea and deciding to stay his course and checking his GPS and making sure that he kept to the line that he had planned. So
it's true.
I think
these kids really do turn the board
Yeah, it's a bit of an unsung hero in that race. So, but it was great to see him kind of have his opening victory there. As we see here, Rye and Shrimpy still battling, still kind of same position. No one's managed to. They're definitely sticking to each other like glue here. Rye trying to break away, but Shrimpy's not letting her.
Rye is definitely trying to break away. Shrimpy looks like to me he's holding on, but all you got to do is hold on. So he's doing that nicely, and hopefully he can somehow find some chance to rest. So have a sprint finish. But Rye looking very dominant. This is the open, guys. Like you call it open, the open course race. A lot shorter. I said it's good to see this in the sport, and sort of if anyone's watching this, they should be out there doing these open races when they come to town. It's back to the open men, pro men, I should say. Yeah, I can't see much changing in this pro unless Rye's gone too hard. Shrimpy probably won't even try and take the lead until the very end if he has anything left. Rye's probably trying to do what the big boys do, and if he can, stretch him and break him. Shrimpy obviously trying to conserve. They're going, again, when they come to the cans, they really attack each other. I said it's not hard. It's not easy to do.
Well, I think that last sprint lap might be interesting because, like you say, if you got a long stretch, you got better opportunity to overtake. But at the same time, mistakes happen at the cans, and that's where there's windows of opportunity can happen when the pressure's on. It's the last lap, and they're going to be gunning for the finish.
So here we are catching through the open course race like we said they might. Now, they're both on a little tiny bump, both on a dugout. This is where it can, this is racing. It can sometimes interfere, like it might here with Shrimpy, and other times it doesn't. Just like you were saying. Shrimpy, there's no point in arguing, buddy. That is what it is. So that is racing. You have to. I mean, it's an ocean race, and you've thrown an open course in there. Like, if there was maybe 100 elite men, you might not do this. But I think there's nothing wrong with it. I think it's kind of cool to go through the course racing. It's part of the obstacles. It's part of the terrain. So Shrimpy's going to have to work hard to catch back up. He's obviously not going to give up, but yeah, just like we said, they're going to go through the whole open field now. So there's a chance for some people to make moves, sort of push people towards the open guys. I said tactics can help come into play here if you got your wits about you.
Well, I think as well, it's it's part of the overall vision for the sport, the idea that you can connect the top elite field with your everyman, somebody coming into the sport and experiencing it for the first time. And what an opportunity to get on the race course with the world's fastest paddlers. Even if you're not competing directly with them, which might be a bit intimidating, quite honestly. But to be on the same course and watch them go by, imagine driving a car in a Formula One race and then Lewis Hamilton flies by. It'd be pretty cool.
Yeah. Look at that bridge.
it's the bridge is just absolutely stunning. So it's the defining feature of Wangali Beach, and it's at night it's all lit up with flashing lights. They had LED message going across the bridge saying welcome to the APP World Tour Busan SUP Open the last few nights. They had fireworks. They've had it's been a 5-star show for everybody visiting.
Now is that bridge free to drive on, or is that cost like every other big bridge in the world?
I believe it's free to drive on. It's the main connection point in this part of the city. So, and it's a pretty cool bridge to go over. Actually, I gotta say.
You heard it here first, folks. You can drive free on the bridge. You can go there just for that. Seriously.
Exactly. So there's our leading man. You kind of get a better perspective there, huh?
No, it's too stable. It's open.
Yeah.
From a distance, I was going to say the same thing. Oh, there we are. Oh, gee, Isel's done quite well. It's hard to tell at this angle. Shrimpy's out in his own, so he's obviously behind Rye right now, trying to come on his side wash, I would say, to catch back up. Hopefully he doesn't get frustrated from what happened on the beach. You can't let that get to you, but it also can motivate you to catch up, as we saw with Rye in the sprint when he fell in. He was very motivated to make a stand. So it's interesting what goes through athletes' minds when they're exhausted. An incident can really fire you up, or it can break you. So, hopefully they go back and they watch races and they get inspired by others, or
Yeah, I think we're going to start a new segment called Mind Games with Travis Grant.
Well, I mean,
the inside line.
They said,
the
inside line on what happens mentally, what happens when you're racing in your head. So, but we used to train that. We used to train a lot of things fatigued, and then you have to try and catch a ball, and they do. I've seen them do it in training in all sports where you got to dodge a ball while you're fatigued, or catch with your left hand and throw with your right hand. Like they keep changing the rules. Hit the red tag, hit the green tag. It's might seem weird. It might seem like a child's game, which you teach kids how to think quick. But when you're fatigued and out of breath, that's when those people do that kind of training can make decisions on whether their course is right. Oh wow, I'm coming up to a slower person, catering for that, looking for a boat wash or a chop. So all those things when you're fatigued, you don't see it. It's very easy to sit here and see that. That's why everyone is a good coach watching from their TV. Because you're seeing every athlete's
right.
not, but if the athlete can train to see that while they're fatigued, then you have a huge advantage. And I personally spent a lot of time doing that.
That's amazing, man. It does look like Itzel's gained a lot of ground on Shrimpy, particularly that incident did affect Shrimpy's position. He was right on Rye for that whole first 2 laps basically until that last turn.
Yeah, like I said, there's no point in getting upset. You can read that as it happens. But again, I can see he's all right to be upset. He was pushing really hard to keep up with Rye there, so it just shows Rye's pace was quite fierce and is doing his job and trying to break Shrimpy. But again, don't rule anyone out yet. Rye might not have paced himself very well. This is definitely more like a pacing course. The bumps are there at the very end, but it's not a... Again, that's the good thing about stand-up is that the course is always changing. So, 1 week it's a flat race, so you're pacing, and then the next race you go to, it could be windy, and you're shifting between different strokes and different speeds. So, Rye's confident. He's doing well. Hats off to the kid. And I said, I hope the other guys do claw him back. You see if that was they can rely on. They can say, gee, I hope Rye's gone too hard, and he starts to crash and burn. But also, when you're at the front of the pack, you do have extra motivation. You seem to have wings when you're at the front.
And there we have Dan Miller from Canada. He's been a fresh face on the tour this year and just really appreciating all the different locations the tour goes to. Just loved coming to London, and obviously it was a significant week given everything that went on over there that week. So, and now in Korea, drinking in the culture, so to speak. So he's having a great time over here.
He does look like a social guy, and that's what also the other side of the sport's all about. It's a great social scene. You get to meet some local athletes and all the athletes that travel, and I do miss that about the sport. I do miss the venues and the amazing people you get to meet. So Denmark looks like a good guy for that. That's for sure.
Definitely. And so Travis, you've had one of the longest careers in paddling of anyone, right? You've been going a fair few years if you do it across the OC1 and then into stand-up paddling.
Yeah, Danny Ching and myself, I guess we started with stand-up when it started, in its inception into the world, or its reinvention, inception, whatever you want to call it. And yeah, the sport's been great to me. Obviously coming from a paddling background and a racing background, so we had a huge advantage in the beginning. Like any new sport, some people just seem to have an advantage at, like foiling right now is the sport it's new that I guess everyone's learning and catching up. But now the sport's been around for a long time. All the boards are getting more similar. They're all being dugouts now. They're all about the same width. The 14-foot can only go so fast. At 14-foot long, there's only so much you can do now. So everyone's on a bit more level playing field, and it comes down to the athlete and the training. So it's exciting to watch it evolve. As I said, the boards have nearly evolved as far as they can for 14 feet. Again, I think it's a good thing. Brings everyone to a level playing field, and they're still quite fast, yet manageable. And I mean, we use these boards at the Red Bull contest in San Fran, the big waves. They say they wouldn't handle big waves, but the guys showed that you clearly can. Who's this?
Absolutely. That's Kane DeGraw from Australia. So that's Chloe Walkerty's partner and training kind of coach. And so he's an Aussie, man. We got representation over here for you.
Yeah, it's good to see.
Yeah.
Good to see.
And we've got our person in the field. We got Holly Mosley on the boat to give us the inside line from the water. So over to you, Holly.
And we're currently on the final lap of the men's distance race of the Busan Sup Open. After a very tight first lap, Rai Taguchi and Shuri Shrimpi-Araki have managed to break away. Itzel Delgado is just right behind me in third place, and the conditions are amazing. There's a lot more chop than yesterday, which is making the buoy turns and the beach starts very exciting. I wouldn't write off Itzel Delgado or Daniel Jasulio yet, as they've still got a lot to go, and there's a lot can change in these conditions. So let's stand by and see what happens. Back to you guys in the studio.
An excited Holly Maudsley there. Great to get. Yeah, go on, Chaz.
Oh, I'm actually in my kitchen, not my studio. To be honest,
it's not as exotic as Holly Maudsley's position on the water, getting the action live there. It definitely seems like there's some excitement in the field there, as we've got another one of the Korean athletes looking a little tired there, coming second turn on the beach there.
Yeah, like I said, that beach transition is a real telltale of how fatigued someone really is. As you can see, so hopefully the camera keeps on that so people can keep tabs on it. It's also a great place to catch up some ground. The open guys the open course race is still going.
Yeah, it's still going. So they've got 2 laps, so these guys are probably coming to the end of their race, I would imagine. He's coming back towards the finish line. This is probably their last buoy turn they're coming up to head into the arch finish line there. So, as you can see, a beautiful waterfront here at Wangali Beach, lined with tall buildings, very city-like. Some of the buildings look like it could be in Dubai, but much prettier actually. I mean, it's a really, really pretty venue.
Just looking at the live tracker, and I'm seeing that Claudia is caught way up, not Itzel. Now I'm just wondering if that's, hopefully our cameras get there soon to see if Shrimpy's fallen off the wayside.
Yeah, I don't know. Let's see. I mean, Holly was just there live, letting us know that Shrimpy was still in second, but Itzel was catching fast. So it'd be interesting if Itzel saved a lot in the tank and is, starting to put his push on now. But let's see as we hopefully will get back to the action here.
Maybe Shrimpy will drop his tracker.
Could be. That looks like that's Rai, but we got
that's
another
Rai all by himself.
That's
he's a novice.
Yeah, he's all by himself. Yeah, exactly.
He's all by himself.
Rai's definitely. He's pulled away. This could be. I mean, if unless something bad happens, he could be in a pretty strong position here, right? I mean, it's hard to imagine somebody could take him at this point.
No, they're not going to catch up now. He's got wings when you're in front by this much. He's done an approach that someone like Michael Booth normally does. He's just tried to stamp his dominance early and stretch him, and he's in this field he's able to do it. Going off yesterday's confidence, he said he's looking great right now.
I am curious. Oh, Shrimpy's back. So Shrimpy still is in fourth. Sorry, the tracker just caught up. Itsel's still in third. I'd like to see how far that gap is before we comment on how comfortable Rai is. This is their third lap, correct? So I think they've got one short, one left.
Exactly. So they're probably about 2.5 kilometers, maybe 3 kilometers away from the finish. Well, 2.5 kilometers away from the finish line. So, we're getting to the pointy end of the race, 3/4 of the way through.
I can see Shrimpy being upset with that transition and blaming the race on that. I said as someone who's again racing and pushing themselves to the limit to try and hang on, as one little bad thing happens and you look at it as an excuse or a reason, and he's not that far away, but he's not going to catch Ryan now. He's obviously seen the gap now, and I'm going to say he's internally looks like he's going as hard as he can internally to hold Shrimpy off. So I said I feel bad that actually happened. It would have been nice to have a good race, but yeah, Shrimpy's not going to catch him from here, unfortunately. But hey, never give up, as one Conor Baxter says. You never know what's going to happen.
Exactly, and actually it does look as though Shrimpy's making a little bit of ground, if I'm not mistaken. But let's see, it's going to be a hard battle, as you say. But you never know what happens. Rai fell off at the beginning of the race, and I wouldn't have anticipated that. And he came back, and so it could be Shrimpy's turn to pull off some magic here.
We've got the right board. Shrimpy is on the great NSP boards that I used to be involved with and love, and they're great for this kind of race. That would be the Carolina, and then Rai's he's not normally on this starboard, is that correct? He's borrowing one?
Exactly, he's borrowing a starboard. He's one of SIC's leading international lights, so he's not on his normal board, but still able to perform to this level, so it's pretty impressive.
Yeah, you might like it too much. Let's see what happens.
No, he's definitely... No, I think he's definitely a proud SIC rider. SIC really pushing him hard and helping him to get on the center stage. He battled with Conor right to the finish in London. Really exciting finish there. So Rai's on a high at the moment. Had a great run this last couple of weeks.
Yeah, so 18 or 19 years old, we believe. So he's still young. He's still going to improve. Obviously, Shrimpy 2 years younger. There's a big difference in size and strength. However, as they get more older in age, they're going to get more even. So I hope the two battle for a long time. And they said, I'm very impressed to beat guys like Julio and Claudia and Itzel in these kind of conditions. They've really stamped their authority and over them. And, I guess Connor, T2, Boothie after the see how they go against them in the next race. Which is the next race, Christian? Is it Paris?
It's Paris comes up next, and then we got Alicante. So Alicante, since you were on tour, Travis, Alicante has become like a hot spot in Europe. It's like almost the center of the European scene over there. A little bit like the Dana Point of Europe. So, it's going to be great to be down there. They've got, clubs of in excess of 450 races, regular races in Alicante itself. So, it's a really thriving SUP scene there. So we'll be there straight after Paris. So that'll be the next leg, December 4th.
Is it cold there in winter as well? Because that'll be December, yeah?
It'll be colder, a lot warmer than Paris. There's a huge difference. And this is Daniel Josulio, I think, actually. I think he's trying to catch some bump here and make some distance, but he's definitely fallen back from Itzel Delgado, who's still pushing there. I think that's... oh, no, this is Rai. We're back on Rai, the leader, who's out on his own.
No, it's when you fall back so much, you normally do give up a little, which is the field isn't as thick as it normally is, just due to obviously some circumstances with boards and people not being able to race. But I imagine Paris will be a lot different. There'll be a lot more elite men there, and then the tactics will be very different. And I've done the Paris race before. It's very choppy if you're not in the very front of the field and you're also passing through the group of paddlers. So the guys, whether they like it or not, they've got to get used to going through a crowd. It's part of this sport at the moment. So there's no point complaining about it. Is just learn to try and use it to advantage. Hey, Shrimpy's going really well here. He's actually doesn't look as fatigued as I thought. He's trying his hardest. Obviously, he's very low. He's got his hand choking the paddle, so that's definitely fatigue. Or it just means he's trying really hard. Again, never giving up. I don't expect him to give up. So hang in there. Oh, that was a trick, wasn't it? An open paddler on the same board.
That was the visual mind games to see if Shrimpy was closer than he was, but looks definitely as though Rye's pretty untouchable at this point.
Yeah, he's doing well.
Yeah, so I mean, Paris obviously very cold, very different environment, and the river there. But you would have loved the race in London this last time. We had you remember when you did the Thames race, we were a little bit against the current, and then it was kind of dead tide. We had full flow when we did the race this time, so they had a short 1 kilometer loop against the current, and then they were going with the current, which is about 4 so they were absolutely flying. So the 12 kilometer course or 3 kilometer course 9 seconds.
Rye had a good transition there. It was Shrimpy's chance, and it didn't happen. Anthony Vella, race director, just helping Shrimpy there, make sure I'm not interrupted. Oh, this is the first open race winner, looks like, just by chance. Crossing the line. Yeah, Rye looks untouchable. He really does. He's been very strong, very dominant. He's starting his short leg now. Now this is obviously one thing. Hopefully he knows the course. Hopefully he's been paying attention and counting, and he's doing well. Hopefully we've been counting too. Hopefully he does the right course. Again, that's the mind game. The training, you've got to think while racing. So let's see if Rye has been thinking and he's been keeping up with his laps.
It's deceptive from this angle. It looks like Shrimpy's pretty close. I think the gap is more than it looks on that shot.
Is there a way to put the buoys on the live tracker in the future? Is that a thing, or is that asking too much?
100%. No. Actually, we tried to get that set up, but we couldn't get the buoys set last night, so that we didn't have time to get them set up. So in the future, we will have a more sophisticated tracking system that will give exact position on everything. But unfortunately, on this race, we're sitting with just the tracker, which is great. But it's we're working on all these technology elements to make it a much more dynamic experience for the viewers. So we're getting there.
Yeah, no, fantastic.
But also, I think as we move forward, I think, all the kind of insight that you're given, obviously, as far as like mind, the mental challenges, but also potentially getting more GPS data on heart rate and things like that would be pretty interesting to get into the live broadcast, to see when people are peaking, to see when they're making their push, to see if they're nervous, to, all the different indicators you can get now in modern technology.
That would be great. Like obviously when you watch the Formula One, which obviously I'm a huge fan of, it's great when you see the dashboard come up and you see when they brake and you see when they accelerate, and it's sort of like you get to nothing. This is a whole different sport, but yeah, it is good to see what maybe guys' heart rate doing. Obviously their speeds will be. Oh, look at Rise, really powering. That is kind of cool where the athletes will want to do it and jump on board with it. We tried that for 1 year, Molokai. A guy tried to give all the elite guys a heart rate monitor, and the elite guys didn't want anything to do with it, just in case they were giving something away or giving their position away, because course is important in a race Molokai. But yeah, no, that could be a cool addition to have everyone's name and heart rate on the bottom of the screen, or just list the three it is, or you can click on the athlete and his heart rate can come up and where he is on the map. That'd be pretty interactive and pretty cool for the fans and friends of the paddler.
Absolutely. No, and I think it'd be interesting even just to go back and be able to track things, see when you peak, see when you kind of get a more in-depth analysis of your performance.
For a training purpose, you can look back and you can see where your heart rate went too high, where potentially you can even see where the other guy's fitness level is at. So a lot to be said, but I think it's kind of cool with technology. There's no reason why we shouldn't do that these days. Rye looks like he hasn't made a mistake. Looks like he's done the right course, and he's very dominant today, very comfortable. He's still growing, so a lot to come from this kid on not even his board. So look, congratulations to Rye. He got 2 out of 2. He's going to be very confident in Paris, and I wonder if he'll take this confidence and do it again, move up the leaderboard.
Yeah, exactly. I think he's definitely going to be one to watch out for. I also feel like Shrimpy's been there's been a signal of Shrimpy arriving and really making his presence felt, and he's had some really strong performances at various races. But I think we haven't seen the best of him yet this year, and I think we probably will. So I think there's plenty more in the tank for the other young Okinawan that's in this race.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, they're going to have a battle for years. Said Raya, I think, has just a size advantage right now, just being a little bit older, especially in a flat water race. You know, maybe in a downwind race. I know that's what Shrimpy's incredible at, his waves and skills. So the next Paris isn't right up his alley. What's the race in Spain? What's the water like over there?
You know, you're probably looking at something not dissimilar to this, but perhaps a little more ocean motion. It's in the Mediterranean, so you're not going to get proper swell, but you can likely get bumped. Maybe some more variables than here. The race I think that he'll really jump on is the one in Saudi Arabia, in Jeddah. There is you got beautiful downwind conditions, amazing bump. That's going to be a really spectacular downwind race.
Is it?
It's the final for 2022, but it's actually in early 2023.
2023.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah. So it'll be in February, beginning of February of 2023. You know, you don't want to be in Saudi Arabia during their summertime because you might just melt.
Yeah.
As we've got.
So here he is. He's on his way home. He had a quick look over his shoulder. So, and yeah. I mean, he's gonna do well. This kid. Are they both? Is Rye good English to communicate with all you guys?
It's getting much better. A year or so ago, it was really difficult. Now, he understands a lot and he can talk. You know, I think when he's tired from racing, it's slower. I was surprised how good he was speaking outside of that. But yesterday, he was, you can see him just so elated and hard to get the words out. So.
Well done. I mean, he's earned that for sure. He looked very comfortable in my eyes. Obviously, he's super pumped. His confidence is going to beam from here. They said he will be one to watch in Paris when you do have some of the big dogs show up and see if he changes tactics or if he just tries to carry on with this and see what happens. As I said, it takes a race win to know you're good enough to win. Shrimpy not that far behind. I mean, Shrimpy, you got to be happy with that. I hope he doesn't blame that one small incident because, yeah, it was an incident. But again, you need to, if he wasn't fatigued, he would have just shrugged it off and caught back up. But again, you got to recognise when you're fatigued sometimes, and Raya was just the stronger paddler today, unfortunately, for Shrimpy.
Yeah. Now you can see Shrimpy visibly disappointed there. Raya went in, gave him some Okinawan love, but definitely visually you can tell he's disappointed.
Yeah, as you are. I mean, you're fatigued. You got second. You're there to. Yeah, that's racing. Oh, who's this coming? Great. Itzel?
This is Itzel Delgado finishing in third. Always the proud Peruvian, both on and off the water.
She sure is. Oh, good on you, Itzel. Yep, well done.
He's definitely one of the great characters of the sport now in my eyes. He's really great ambassador, really humble, really sweet natured, and a great ambassador. When he talks, it doesn't matter what language he's in. He's an impressive personality in the sport, so it's great to have him there. Always very positive, always bringing his Latino vibe to the table. So it's really cool.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic. Oh, Shrimpy's back. He's recovered.
That's the good thing about being a kid. You can bounce back quickly.
Oh, there's his dad, Taku, in the background, if you can see, taking the photo. As I said, Dad's a former athlete, so I know how hard Shrimpy being pushed, and yeah, like I said, there's still early days to come, if you ask me. So very impressed with the two Japanese kids. So I actually look forward to potentially being in Paris or watching from afar. We'll see what happens.
Well, Travis, it's been a pleasure having you on for this. It's great to get your insight into this as well. Oh yeah, there's Daniel. So finishing in fourth place, another good result for Daniel this year. I think he would have wanted to be in the lead pack, but I think he must have, somehow he didn't. He wasn't in that lead pack right off the start, so something must have happened off the start there.
Yeah, he's got kids now too there, Tristan, so that slows you down a little.
Well, Travis, I know you've had kids for a while, and I've seen some pretty impressive performances from you. Particularly the one that sticks in my mind is the red-eye trip to San Francisco, and all the the likes of Kai Lenny and everybody on the start line, and you handed it to the kids. So always impressive, man.
Yeah, that was fun back in those days, and I did enjoy competing when I could in some of the APP events, and it's great to see APP continuing to grow and go to new places and keep pushing the sport. And as you said, I'm seeing guys like 16-year-old Shrimpy coming through, and Connor's obviously been there since day one, and Connor's still going, and even Connor's seeing the change of the guard, obviously, which happened when I was around. So APP's still going strong, and like I said, it's still what is it? You've still got big things in 2023, right? I heard every year you're getting better and better and better and bigger.
Yeah, it's interesting. We're really starting to be on an interesting trajectory through 2019 and building out to what was supposed to be a really big 2020. And then obviously COVID hit, which was unfortunate. Kind of put the brakes on for a couple of years there, like global sport in general. But this is kind of the comeback year, and 2023 is lining up to be pretty insane. So it's exciting times for the tour. The new direction we had of bringing the sport to the people rather than expecting the people to come to the sport. I think that was the direction that really kind of triggered a big growth surge for us. London, we had over 1,000 people sign up to do demo sessions over the weekend. This past week, unfortunately, the Queen's funeral and passing was unfortunate timing because Canary Wharf couldn't host anything during that time. We had to find a new venue within 3 days of the race, and it was quite an obstacle just to make it happen. So we were fortunate to be able to deliver an event, but not to the scale that it was planned. But as we look ahead to 2023, that's one of our flagship venues. That'll be a massive race for us.
Look at that beach setup.
Joining.
I just saw the drone footage then, and that beach setup is incredible. I mean, they've taken over the whole beach. It looks like that's a place to be, really. I mean, what's the food? There food stands there as well, or is that just all the boards and event staff?
It's all our events. It's a massive setup, and yesterday was just packed all day with the nice weather, we had SUP yoga in the pool. We had stuff going on the stage. There was kids events. There was all kinds of stuff. It was a really animated, really cool day.
It's a big pool you can see there in the back. That's incredible.
Yeah, that was our signature APP pool. You remember seeing it in New York when you did that
New York
race as well. Yeah. So
that's what I like about the APP.
Real hit.
You're putting races on where races don't never been, like London, New York, or you had New York, and so San Fran now are in the basically the second capital city for South Korea. It's really cool to see. You get to go to these big cities and where they want to do these paddling events, and APP/KAPP is bringing it to their city. It's really cool to see, and like I said, I look forward to hopefully coming to South Korea next year.
No, you got to come, Travis. It's an amazing place, and yeah, these events are all about inclusivity, bringing everything together. And we're going to now throw down to Holly Maudsley, who is on the beach with the winners. So let's hear it from Holly. Over to you.
So I'm here with Rai Taguchi, distance champion for the Busan Sup Open after he won the sprint already yesterday. Rai Taguchi, how was the race?
And today's race, so hard race, very tired, but I'm very happy. Thank you.
And Rai, I was on the boat and it seemed super choppy and wavy out there. How were the conditions for you?
Looks so flat, but race starts a little choppy and waves condition.
And you're more of a technical racer. There was a lot of boy turns. I was watching, your boy turns were amazing. I think maybe that's what put you head and shoulders above the rest. Would you agree?
So happy. Thank you.
So would you like to say something in Japanese for our Japanese listeners?
Okay. 昨日もなんとか1位取れてめっちゃ疲れてたんですけど、もう絶対今日も優勝する気でレースに挑んだので有言実行できて本当に嬉しいです。ありがとうございました。本当に皆さんの支えがあって応援があってできたレースだと思うので本当に感謝しています。감사합니다.
Congratulations, Ryan. Obviously, this means you've won the overall title for the Busan Sup Open. How does that feel?
Very so happy. So happy. Fun.
Congratulations, Ryan, and back to you guys in the studio.
He's
so definitely.
I think he's happy. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's stoked. I think
He's
it's close
stoked.
to home as well. He's probably feeling comfortable in these waters. Really dominant performance, 2 bullet wins, really very convincing wins here. Definitely a sign of things to come. Maybe a Japanese storm as they have in the surfing world with the Brazilian storm.
Yeah. I mean, also, he could be one of those things in his training program. I mean, sometimes you just have an incredible week. And like you said, he's close to home, similar conditions. Obviously, his board's not. How did he go in London? How was Ryan London?
He did really well. He battled with Connor for the win in the sprints. He just got a close second. It wasn't quite a photo finish, but they were like together, like boards going over the line. In the distance, he did okay. So I can't remember exactly where he finished overall, and I should check.
He obviously is more of a technical racer, as he alluded to, and then obviously this distance race was more of a technical layout, so it did play to his strengths, as we just found out. I mean, he said he could be on those high right now and good timing, and they said see if that carries on, and he said I'm glad to see he's definitely happy.
He's definitely happy, and in London he finished 4th overall. So I think he was about 6th, 7th, 8th place in the distance, and he got 2nd place in the sprints. So great performance there.
Fantastic.
Too. And really different conditions from here. It was mirror flat, so it was really all on the race. So there was no kind of outside influences as far as chop, wind, anything like that on the sprint race. And then the distance race was pretty crazy.
Yep. We've still got a few the back markers. Looks like the local guys finishing up their course race, Open and Pro. It was good to see some of the local Korean guys enter the Pro. Like I said, it is daunting going against these fast guys, and then obviously also going around and coming in towards the back. They said it's not easy and it's not fun, but again, you've got to take that step sometimes. So it was really cool to see that. When they said, I guess when they finish, the women are ready and they're starting straight away. Is it just the women? Is there open women or the open? It was just open men.
There's pro men and pro women. We've got actually a pretty balanced field. A lot of open women, not quite as big. I think it's about 2/3 as big, but a lot of open women. There's a lot of enthusiasm and people coming into the store and excited about it. So that's been a really pleasant sight over here.
Yeah, there's a lot of Koreans in the women. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in the pro women.
Yeah, in the pro women, I think we have about 20 or so in the open women. So good showing. It's getting a lot of excitement about the sport. The fact that it's so accessible and manageable over here, and a lot of excitement about it. And actually, the leading lady is such a great ambassador for the rest of the Korean athletes. Choi Ji-won, she's doing really well, really competitive on the international scene as well. Finished 3rd yesterday in the sprint, so it was a big moment for her to get a podium finish in her hometown. It's exciting to see what happens.
It's also good to see that the 14-foot boards are there. Obviously, they're a lot faster than the 12.6, but I know in Japan they're very resistant, mainly because obviously the size of their cars, and obviously you can see right now everyone lives in a high-rise or a unit if they're in the city, so it's very hard to store a 14-foot board, but again, they're a lot faster when you paddle them, and I guess they've found a way to embrace that. Is Japan using 14s yet, or they're still on the 12.6 just for storage and transport reasons?
They're transitioning, I think. Korea's a little later in the development, so they sort of skipped the whole 12.6 stage almost. It seems like they just went straight onto 14-foot because that was the normal by the time the sport really started to grow. But I think in Japan, 14 is obviously becoming the dominant international class, and I think it's actually quite hard to get 12.6 boards even now. A lot of the brands are kind of giving up on it. Yeah, the brands are pulling back on them.
Again, in the early days, they were big, and obviously, like anything, you get used to it. And then 14 is just obviously a lot faster of a board, but they're still 14 foot is not very long when you're looking for glide. So it's a very physically demanding sport, stand up, because there isn't that glide that other craft have. Who's this now? There's another local. Oh, strong finish.
Yeah.
You seen him sprint up the beach?
That was a strong finish. He still had some energy in the tank, huh?
He's a runner, that guy. It's good to see, obviously, adrenaline's pumping.
Jin Hee Lee. That was Jin Hee Lee, one of the local wild cards. So, all of them are pumped up. You know, this is an exciting moment for Korean stand-up. I mean, you can see the scale of the event from these drone shots. It's a big deal over here. And yesterday, like I said, it was an absolutely packed event site. Engagement from all levels. And in the kids races, there was kids as young as 5 and 6 years old racing. So, it's a bright future for the sport here. And just, it was one of the, I said yesterday we had this seminar thing last night, and I said there was 2 moments that stood out for me in the day. The one was the morning race, coming down and seeing these little kids getting involved and the excitement and the parents shouting, and it was just a really cool scene. And then the final heat, obviously that finish from Ryan was the icing on the cake for yesterday.
If you haven't watched the highlights, I watched the highlights after the race yesterday, and they said the video footage, the drone, obviously it was super sunny. I'm surprised the drone didn't take anyone's hat off. It was super close. It was incredible footage, and it was an excellent performance from Ryan. I could really see him, you see how hard he was trying, because I was so close and it was such a clear image that I was blown away. We didn't get the same kind of footage today for the distance race, but again, I know the drones can't last that long in the air. So if you haven't watched the sprint race, definitely do yourself a favour. It's short and it's quite entertaining and inspiring as well to see how fast, I guess, Ryan really did go.
Yeah, and as we talked about, his technique around buoys was pretty unparalleled. Honestly, that one turn he did on the inside where he kind of he got the inside line and overtook everyone in one snap turn.
So I'm guessing a lot of the girls have missed their board too, because April Zieg is probably not on her board.
No, exactly, and poor April, she had an unfortunate final yesterday for the women. She fell in on, she had the lead off the start, and then she fell. It was kind of an unforced error. She was on the outside. I'm not sure quite what happened, but transitioning the paddle, her board just went on rail a little bit, and she caught an edge and fell. So that's
what happens. Especially different equipment. Obviously, she's probably no doubt the favourite for today's race. She would know it, but again, different board, got to be a little careful, as we saw in the sprint race. So I guess we'll find out. They're doing the same course, Tristan?
Exactly the same course, and like you said, April's been on dominant form this year. She's actually only finished second in one division so far, so she won the distance in the US and the sprints, obviously, then won the sprints in London, close finish with Espe Barreras, but then in the distance, Espe had the edge. She's a really impressive talent. I don't know whether you've been watching much of her racing, but in the distance race, she broke away and had a big lead. She's definitely a distance powerhouse.
Yes, she sure is, and she's enjoying her time at the front of the sport, that's for sure.
Yeah, exactly. So it was good to, have the more global competition. There's been a lot of energy in Europe this last year or so, just because with the difficulties in global travel. It's a lot of energy's been there, and a lot of development and excitement in the sport has been there. But our goal, we're very much a global organization, and we want to push all the regions. So being here in Asia is super important. Having our flagship US stop is really important. And also as we look to South America for 2023 and beyond. We want to make sure there's a really global presence, so we're inspiring growth in all the regions and provide a proper global representation for the sport.
No, you are. So the KAPP I'm seeing, obviously you've got the event next year as well. Are the KAPP going to run smaller local events as well to encourage this kind of thing? Or
absolutely
regional events?
Absolutely. They're going to be doing local events, regional events. They want to do Asia-wide events. And as we talked a little bit about the rivalry between Korea and Japan, they definitely want to take the mantle of the leading country in Asia for the sport and the kind of central spot, which I think they're very well positioned to do with the work that KAPP is doing on the ground. They're looking at it not just from an event perspective, but building programming, building opportunities for people to participate, scholastic programs, all the different ways that we can grow the sport from the bottom right up to elite level competition. So. It's the right vision. It's what we're aligning with globally, and we've got a great team on the ground here doing phenomenal work. So we're very fortunate.
No, I think that's great. I mean, hopefully Japan, hear what you just said and see that and just be like, oh no, I don't think so. And they've actually been, they're obviously very dominant right now in stand-up. They've always had a big presence in stand-up with Kenny and Taku. Now they've got obviously Taku's son Shrimpy and Rye, and obviously the APP used to go to Japan. Are they going there again in 2023?
It's in the plans, you know. It's sporting events in Japan through COVID were
Well, yes, they've been
possible.
non-existent.
Yeah. Exactly. They just managed to pull off the Olympics, but I think that took every shred of drive from everybody.
Negotiating.
People were kind of exhausted. Exactly. I think everybody was exhausted by the process. So, you know, I think there's a bit of a hangover from that. You know, as we look ahead to 2023, we're in discussions. My gut feeling is that Japan's going to be more 2024, but we definitely will be back there in 2024 because, you know, one of our key members of the team, John Fu, who, you know, he's an extremely passionate individual. He wants to bring the tour back to Japan, so we're working on it.
If Korea's anything like Japan, I said my favorite trips were to Japan. They were just, it was clean, they were beautiful people, they were, just loved the fact you were there, and they were so passionate about this new sport. So I know Japan has been closed. Just for those people, Japan is opening up to Hawaii, like I think now or any week now. They're actually going to open up to travel to Hawaii. So it's a big step in tourism for Hawaii and Japan. So they said hopefully that's the door. Hopefully that goes well and it opens the doors for international events to come there again, because Japan is an incredible place to go, and so it sounds like South Korea was is equally as nice or very similar.
Yeah, you know, I think I was so pleasantly surprised. I mean, when I compare the two, the focus on hospitality and really welcoming people is very similar. You know, they go to town. Their primary objective is to make you feel welcome, make you have a great time. So, you know, it's really exciting, that side of it. I think Korea is probably a little more modernized in some respects than Japan. Japan much more entrenched in tradition, I would say. Korea is a little more modern and forward thinking in how they do things. So, you know, it's been great being over here. I love both countries kind of equally, honestly. I love going to Japan, and I love coming here now. This is really one of my new favorite places. It's a great place, and the food is out of this world as well. By the way, it's just
I bet. Looks like the women are they're just doing the introductions. We can listen to that. We can hear it over the microphone.
People getting excited, they get really into this. When people were lining up for the sprints yesterday as well, they were calling people in line, and you know, there's a lot of excitement about the sport and the fact that there's a big international event here. It's a big deal, so it's exciting to see.
Are they standing? Is this lane draws or is this seated?
It's seated. They can pick their, done by seed. They can pick their spot on the line. So April choosing the top spot there, and everybody filling in behind her.
Well, I expect April to get a start. It does look quite deep off the shore when they stand in, so if they step too far, you can see it's quite deep. So let's see the girls pay attention in the men's race about that. Again, I don't want to critique anyone, but if someone goes too deep, you take one step too far and you're in the deep. You can sort of see it right when that wave stands up is where it gets deep to shallow. So that's a good start. It's easy to see the deep water there. Yeah, very
it's
good
funny.
start from April.
You should. It's funny you should say that. The deepness there. There's some holes there, and then there's some shallow sections. So it's even more complicated than you would imagine. You suddenly got like a giant hole in the sand, and it's all sand, so you don't hurt yourself. But you could be running in waist deep water, and then you're in shoulder. Yeah, that was.
I haven't seen a wave break all day, and they had a wave come through. It's always the way.
Yeah. So yeah, strong start from April there, but Juliet right on her heels. Juliet's been one of a standout competitor this year. She's looking really confident, performing really well, and especially in the short distance, the sprint racing. Her turns are really strong, and she's a very powerful paddler.
She was interviewed. Yeah, where's Juliet from?
She's actually Argentinian, but spends a lot of time in the US, so partially living in Carolina actually. So back and forth between the two.
No, it's great to see. I see that ARG here as well. No, I haven't really seen an Argentinian. It's not. South America is not a huge. I mean, obviously, Zitzel supporter of the stand-up internationally. Obviously, they're a long way away. It is hard, but it's great to see someone from Argentina and obviously Peru, and so yeah.
Yeah, definitely. As we've got a close shot of That's April there. You can see the cool backdrop that's there. Well, at the bottom of all those buildings is restaurants and bars and all kinds of stuff. So last night it was literally packed streets, really social environment. There was a silent disco on the beach, Travis, which was pretty funny.
The headphones is pretty cool.
Yeah, with the headphones. So people were rocking out and on the beach at the event site, and the people walking by weren't affected by the sound. So,
yeah. So I'm guessing that's Juliet in second at the moment on the Infinity.
Exactly, and that's Caroline Kunzel right on her tail. So typically a sprinter, she wanted to try her wares in distance today. She decided not to compete in London in the distance, but she's here to compete today, and she doesn't have her boats either. She rides for Kona Sports. It's a European brand out of Scandinavia, and she's a proud supporter of those people. So they kindly were fine with her riding whatever boat she could for this race, and she's fortunately the stopper distributor was she's from Denmark, so she's kind of from the Casper mold, really strong sprinter. She very much followed Casper's training and style of paddling. She's one of the top lights from Europe, and definitely one of the fastest sprinters in the world. She won the sprints yesterday.
Yes, you're correct. Very well. So April's already got a lead, and she's very comfortable. She's sort of cruising. She obviously doesn't need to show off or exert more energy than she has to. It is, as we heard before in the men's race, it is quite bumpy out there. Even though it doesn't look it from this camera angle, again on these narrow boards, it is quite bumpy, as they alluded to. So she's just going to conserve and just basically be in a probably around 80%, like a comfortable, powerful rating, knowing that hopefully girls won't catch up. But if they do, she has another gear to go. So I think she's got a pretty easy day for April today, and then looks like these two might have a battle.
Exactly, and April definitely subscribed to that program of really using her mental and physical approach to competing, and we've seen the transformation of her results over the last couple of years as she's really kind of defined her game, and this year she's been pretty unbeatable, quite honestly, across both short and long courses. So that seems to be paying off for her.
The open race is about to head off. I know Candice was, there goes the open race. I heard Candice was commentating, helping yesterday. Is she still racing, or she can't travel to some of these events?
She's I feel like she's going back and forth. She's doing a bit of a Kelly Slater, honestly. I think she's not she's not ready to retire, but she's got a lot going on. She's got her training programs and everything she's doing there. She was on a high off the U.S. Open. She wasn't going to compete. She did the U.S. Open, did really well. Then she was all excited. Then a month passed, a lot of work at home, and she got COVID actually, and then she recovered quickly. So she's now back in the training program, and she was telling me yesterday she was extremely excited to get back on the race course, and is definitely eyeing up Paris and Alicante for a return to the Tour, and potentially finishing off the Tour strong for 2022.
To be honest, who wouldn't want to go to Paris? I mean, Paris just by itself is an incredible city, and then to get to paddle on the sides, you know what I mean, is sort of that's why I went. It's a once in a lifetime opportunity, and I feel like people who are umming and ahhing, it's an incredible event, that Paris race. There's a lot of opens, which makes it even more cool. You finish right under the Eiffel Tower. I said it's more just an excuse to go to Paris, paddle in a river that no one else will ever get to paddle in. And it's fun too. It's all for fun. So that event, I said I expect a lot of people. I know T2 is going to rock up to that one for the men. My old teammate. So yeah, I expect a lot of women for Paris, and it should be a good showing. And if you're not in the elites, you can always just jump in the open race. They're still in the open race, correct? Before I say that out loud.
Absolutely. No, they absolutely are. I mean, it's one of the most, or actually the most popular event in the world. We have over 3,000 entries for 1,000 spots. So it's an impressive amount of people willing to jump in the water in December in pretty cold conditions, quite honestly. But it's, like you said, it's an unforgettable experience getting into the water in the dark, paddling past Notre Dame, Eiffel Tower, all the different sites on the River Seine. It's pretty impressive.
Well, if you're paddling well, Tristan, you don't get to see all that stuff. To tell you the truth,
Yeah.
I don't remember passing any of that. I had to get a bike and go back along on a bike. So I was like, oh, is this where we went? Because you sort of weave through Paris, so you end up not quite sure where you are because the river's not straight. But yeah, it is definitely that was the coolest part about going to Paris is when you walk through the city, then you paddle through the city, and I said I still didn't know which way was up, down, left, or right. But it's also shoulder season. I mean, it's not very busy that time of year, so it's actually a really good time to be in Paris as well.
Absolutely. And you know, and Alicante following on straight on afterwards will make a nice kind of final European leg for the season before the finals in Saudi Arabia. So I think it's it'd be an exciting moment for the sport this year. And Alicante is, like I was just saying earlier, it's like become like this kind of hive of activity for Europe, kind of a center point for Europe in the same way that Southern California was in the early days. So, you know, there's a lot of energy there, a lot of SUP clubs, and, you know, a lot of really talented young athletes. That's the exciting thing for me to see. You know, for a few years there, it was kind of the same names. You guys kind of leading pack, and then you had the Kana generation, and Kai and all those guys, and now there's this wealth of teenagers, you know, like they're coming out to their 20s, and they're hungry. So, you know, it's an exciting moment for the sport in Europe for sure.
So this is Juliet and Caroline, am I correct? They're sitting second, third.
That's correct.
Caroline is going to probably just sit on that watch as long as she can if she's a sprinter, and try and sprint at the end is probably my guess. It looks like it's got a little windier, Tristan. Has it got a little windier, or is that just the camera angle?
No, it's definitely got a little windier. I can feel it here in the booth even. So there's going to be more elements at play. But like you said, I think Caroline's going to try ride Juliet's wake the whole way, and then probably go for that last kilometer sprint to really, you know, try to get ahead.
Still a long way, girls. I'm not sure how long the guys took. I actually forgot to time it.
It was about an hour and just right around the hour mark, I think, for the, you know, I'll double check on that, but right around the hour mark for the men.
Okay, so it's still a long time in the saddle. So these girls will be in for over an hour in a choppy condition. So you do get, your legs get very shaky and fatiguey, especially with that transition. Look for cramps. See what happens. The water's quite warm, I see, obviously. It's quite warm there right now.
It definitely is. The summer, you know, it's one of those places that varies a lot over the year, and it goes with the temperature of the air. So, you know, the summertime is warm. We're all in shorts over here. It's beautiful weather. It's a beautiful September kind of weather. And the water is warm. You can swim in shorts. It's super warm. So, nice conditions for the paddlers, and, you know, not having the beating sun today, probably for the distance race, is a little bit of a blessing for them.
For the paddlers, yeah, obviously for the camera crew and everyone's like suns, but no, for a paddler you like a little bit of breeze to cool you down, and the overcast is great, as you saw some sailboats before, so there's definitely some wind, making things choppy. Obviously it's on a bay, so it's normally there's no ground swell to contend with, it's just sort of chop, but it's still enough to chop you off your board. So, making a move. It's definitely on the boat wash. Jumped on that.
Yeah, they did. And you could see Caroline kind of going wide there. She was going for the overtake at this early stage, which seems a strange move at this point, but maybe there's a longer strategy at play here.
I can see, I saw April way in front in the background just then in that shot, so April's marching away. She's obviously, she's very strong and fit right now, if you see any pictures of her, so obviously she's not struggling on that borrowed board of hers.
No, I think probably, you know, the more technical elements she's probably a bit more tender on. You know, I think that's why the sprint racing in the end, there was an unforced error because it's unusual for her. But I think in a distance race, like you said, as soon as you can get comfortable and just rely on the machine, then, you know, she's definitely well prepared for that.
Yep, she's a machine. So she'll walk over there normally, missing her board, so it was very nice of Starboard to lend her a board. She's normally on a 404, I believe.
Yeah.
With Mr. Danny Ching, who I haven't seen race this year.
He was in the U.S.
Texting me
He
right
was in the
now.
U.S. Open. He was in the U.S. Open, and you know, he did the distance race there. He didn't actually do the sprints in the end, but he did the distance race.
Funny you say that about Dane Chin. He used to be the fastest man on earth. No one could touch him. And then even he's been like, I'll just do the distance. I'm not going to keep up with these young sprinters anymore. I don't know what it is about getting older, but yeah, you seem to get better at distance racing. So sprints are hard. You know, sprints are, there's so much can go wrong. You do rely a little bit more on luck, whereas in the distance race, people, like I said, April, just going to rely on her power and she's going to win. Yesterday in the sprints, she's definitely good enough to win, but unfortunately, I said that's racing. You know, that's why they do sprints racing. It's exciting. It's not a lane race. There's enough lane races in this world. Obviously, the fastest person will always win. But if it's a group buoy race, then yeah, a lot can happen, as we've seen over the years with Shrimpy as well and everyone else. And that's just if that's the sport you want to play, you've just got to accept the consequences if you don't have a good race.
Exactly, and I think, you know, you want to be able to have courses that challenge the best in the world and are not one-dimensional. You know, because I think stand-up paddling, there's a lot of elements that make a good stand-up paddler, from the core distance machine to the balance to your board skills to all the different elements that are involved in becoming a good paddler. And I think, you know, having this diversity of courses, having the buoys, having the distance, having the sprints, you can really test a well-rounded athlete. And you see the likes of, you know, Connor and now Ryan, Shrimpy, all these guys are excelling in where you're tested beyond just straight line performance.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's fantastic, and it is hard for an athlete to be good at both. To be honest, when you're young, you sort of do it all, but as you know, I test myself. Like, you just lose that fast twitch, that speed, and you just can't keep up with the young guys. And so yeah, it's definitely it's definitely making it harder for the athletes, but that's the test. You know, see who's the best all-rounded athlete. Do you still do the individual, you know, award for the best distance, award for the best sprint, or are you just going to group it together and make best athlete overall?
We do all three now. So okay. we definitely celebrate the overall sprint champion for the year and the overall distance champion for the year. And then we celebrate the overall champion for each event. But when it comes to the ranking, your sprint results and your distance results are separated in the sense of you can choose your best sprints from the year and your best distances from the year, and they don't have to be, for example, you wouldn't have to count both the sprint and the distance here in Korea, for example. You could count your best sprint from the year and your best distance from. Yeah, so it allows people to have a down day where they don't, where they, you know, you don't perform on one of the days. Allows you to throw that result away. So, no, I think it provides a much more relevant result at the end of the year.
Yeah, or if you've been sick, you know, you miss a race, you don't miss out. Well, just give.
Yeah, that was pretty bad. We're gonna actually we're gonna go down to Holly in a second here. She's getting ready on the boat to give us the update from the water's edge. But I think you know, a big shout out to Christian Anderson and Kaylin Lockhart. So they're unfortunately stuck in their hotel rooms. Both of them got tested positive. Both of them seem pretty well, but they tested positive. So really unfortunate they weren't able to race. Christian, a Fnatic team rider from Denmark, and Kaylin from Australia, an MSP rider. As we're now going to throw down to the water, Holly is on the water to get the bird's eye view over there. So let's see what's going on the race course. So we're just
Holly's having a hard time catching up with April. Yeah, that's what's going on.
Exactly.
Hey, what up?
Yeah, we're waiting for her to connect in. But here we got a great shot of Juliet and Caroline. Looks like Juliet fended off that challenge for Caroline.
You can see April on the right there at 90 degrees, a long way in front. Already made that turn. So I mean, she's just that lead just keeps extending. So that's she's done there. I'm presuming is Holly on this boat here, or?
I presume she's on this boat here. Yeah. So I think they're that's where Holly is. And we're actually coming up to, we're not the halfway point, but we're halfway through the second lap, it looks like. So about 4.5 Ks in. So, you know, it's early days of the race still, but it's interesting to see these two. It's really a battle for second and third. April's more or less got it in the bag at this point, pending any kind of major craziness.
Well, what's going to happen with the points? Obviously, she got 4th, right? So doesn't help her with the overall standings today. Even if she wins by a lap, it comes down to combined points.
It does. It depends how Caroline does in the distance. She's not typically a distance paddler, but this is a good performance for her, and she's definitely letting Juliette drag her at the moment, you can see. Yeah, I think if Caroline is able to maintain position and finish in 3rd, April's not going to be able to beat her. If Caroline finishes in 4th, sprint is actually the tiebreaker here. In London, it was distance. So, if they have the same results, Caroline would win overall. April's obviously hoping Caroline finishes 5th or worse, which at this point you would say was quite difficult to imagine. So
unless she does a DNF, Caroline's going to probably win overall, even though April's she got unlucky in the sprints. But again, that is the sport, that's racing. Obviously, there's more women involved, and more stuff can go wrong as well. So that is what it is. How did Juliette go on the sprints yesterday?
That's what I was going to say. I would say the interesting one is going to be Juliette, because if she maintains 2nd position, no one can beat her, providing Caroline doesn't get ahead. Well, if Caroline finishes 3rd, then Caroline would win regardless. So this is really an interesting battle. So if Caroline can maintain position, she's won the event, basically. If Caroline falls to 4th and Juliette finishes in 2nd, then Juliette will win. A 2nd in sprints, and this will be a 2nd in distance if she maintains the current standing.
Well, it's over an hour, so if Caroline is fit enough to handle that. Obviously, she's keeping pace with Juliette, so not that she has to, but again, she isn't saying that. There's a slight gap now. I said the girls, it's still a long time in the saddle, over an hour. It'll be an hour 15 for them, probably, hour 10.
Yeah, exactly. And, but it does seem as though they've broken away from the rest of the field, the 2nd and 3rd. So, barring any unexpected things happening, Caroline's in a very interesting position. And this is a great opportunity for the young Danish talent. There's April leisurely going around the turning point there.
Yes, very casual. Just thinking about dinner. What should I have after this race? Do they have any demos? Is there much not so much clinics? I know they got the yoga in the pool. Are there many board providers down there, like with the boards and the paddles and the inflatables at this APP event, or is this more just for the athletes and competitors, not so much for the spectator, for the social side? Julie's going to catch away with you. She's going to pull right away.
Yeah, that's a nice little bump there to get her into the turning point. Actually, there's a bit of everything here. We had some clinics with Daniel Hosulio and April on Friday, so that was for super cool. We actually had a clinic for visually impaired athletes, or not athletes, for visually impaired people to try the sport and get involved. We did that in the APP pool, which was super cool. And there's been a bunch of other stuff going on. The distributors are here. Starboard's definitely the dominant distributor here in Korea at the moment. But there's starting to be a lot of interest in the territory, and I think there's going to be a lot of movement over the next 12 months as brands start to really push in this territory, because it's a big market. There's 10 million people in Seoul, and I think it's 3.5 or 4 million people living here in Busan. So, it's a big population. Water all around it, and some really interesting paddling locations. So I think there's a lot of growth to come in this world.
It does look promising. I'd even seen that drone shot before when they scanned over the beach, and I'd actually say it doesn't look so lopsided with starboard. I saw a lot of colourful boards on the beach. Obviously, there's a lot of Infinities, a lot of NSPs. So obviously there is a lot of brands heading that way, and like I said, it's good events like APP, or the KAPP, I should say, to keep hosting these events. And said the brands will definitely support it more and more and more. And then the good thing at athletes is that everyone does want to try and have an advantage, and they normally do try different boards for the conditions they've got. So yeah, this is a good sign. I think next year you should see even more brands here. On the wave.
100%. Yeah, 100%. I think we had an industry get together last night with KPP, and we were talking about how to really push the sport forward and get more interest and traction around, particularly the kind of more performance sides of the sport between racing and surfing. Inflatables are starting to grow, obviously, as far as the leisure participation is concerned. But I think over the coming year, we'll see a lot of movement from the brands because there's definitely a lot of opportunity here. And now with KPP kind of laying the foundations and pathway, I think people see that it's it's really a cool sport and they want to be involved.
There we are. Looks like broke her ankle. But as you can see, it's the 14-foot boards can be challenging as well. You can see right here. So is this the second lap? Yeah. So this is starting their third, correct?
Yeah, I'm just trying to remember now. I've lost track of time. I think they've done. No, maybe they've just done 1.5. Yeah, they're on their second lap exactly. So yeah, we got a ways to go. We're only a third into this course now, probably. As we see Caroline dropping back a bit there, I think that's Juliet. Who seems like she's broken. Oh no, is that them?
Yeah, Caroline caught that little wave. Juliet caught that little wave, and then now, so Caroline has been sort of hanging on the watch now. She's got to really hurt herself to catch back up, because it's very hard to close a gap, especially if you're right behind the board, because it does create a bit of a bow wave, I guess, which is then hard to push over, especially on a stand-up. So you've got to kind of go wide and go around the person in front of you's wash, you could call it. So otherwise you get stuck unless you're really, really, really good. So is this April?
This is April, so definitely dominant lead. She's out there on her own. Probably either going through her playlist or imagining what her playlist is at this point.
Just getting the steps up on her watch. Probably said it's a training run for her. She's very smooth. She's definitely a beast of a paddler, and I imagine in Paris it's not going to be this comfortable. It'll be a lot harder. Does Paris have the sprints in the pool again?
This year we don't. With COVID, everything got downscaled last year. We did it just in an exhibition. We were there just to kind of support last year. This year we're back in full capacity, but just on the river. And next year we'll be bringing back the indoor pool, but with a twist, because this ramp that I've been talking about for years is finally a reality. We did some testing on an inflatable version, 10 meters long and 6 meters high. Which in feet is, I'm not sure, I can't do the calculations right now, but it's pretty big. And now we have like a hard version with rollers and a starting gate. So we'll have it ready for testing and for launch in the 2023 season. So
you have to wear a helmet?
Another really cool we'll have to wear a helmet for sure, definitely from a safety perspective. Although we are going to pad it with inflatable all around the kind of sliders and everything. So if people fall, they fall onto something soft. But actually, having tested it, it's not. It's pretty easy. It's not easy. I mean, obviously, when the pressure's on, the pressure's on. But it's a smooth transition when you hit the water. You hit the water full speed planing, which is exciting. But there will be some spills when people get to the bottom of the ramp.
In the beginning, absolutely. So Paris this year is just the distance race.
It's just the distance race in Paris this year, so it's half the points, well not half the points, but just be counting points for the distance race. Alicante will be both sprint and distance.
And then this next weekend you get an Alicante, and that's the sprint distance for the two, and then that's actually not the finale. The finale happens in early 2023.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, right.
So we were trying to squeeze it in, but it just got so compacted at the end of the year. And actually, it's part of a bigger festival in Saudi Arabia. It's called Jeddah Season, which is like a whole month or 2 month period where they celebrate all kinds of sports, lifestyle activities in Saudi Arabia or in that region of Saudi Arabia on the Red Sea coastline. So it fits as part of that and celebrating the ocean lifestyle there. So it'll be a super cool event, and the venue's really interesting.
Now, the hardest thing about travelling around the world normally is getting aboard there. So if you go from, obviously, as we found, London to South Korea, unfortunately got stuck. Then obviously after Spain, is there a way that the athletes can get their boards to Saudi Arabia?
Absolutely. I mean, it's one of those things. It's been a great learning experience for us this past month. Even we offered transport for the boards from that event in Poland over to London, from France to London, from LA to London. So we had boards coming in from everywhere, and all those came in fine. Best laid plan for London to Korea. Obviously, what we did discover is that one thing doesn't align in the sense of a national holiday getting announced. It basically lost our booking because all the freight companies went on holiday, and then it would make time. So that was the learning from this year. Yeah. So yeah, exactly. So the Queen's funeral kind of really just put a kink in our wheel this year. But also, I think having more regional clustered events rather than having to jump from London to Korea. That's both it's taxing on the athlete. That jet lag and having to shoot over like that's too much. This year we kind of were boxed into.
Hey, the Formula One does it. The Formula One does it, and they got to get a race car over there.
Exactly. It's well, this is why it's possible, but I think what we're trying to do is make it as easy as possible for the athletes. For 2023, we'll have a year-long program for the boards because the individual management of trips from one location to the other is hard. But if you have a year-long program where what they call a carnet, which allows the boards to be unaccompanied going around the world and meeting the athletes in each venue and avoids all the issues with customs.
So for 2023, you're saying you can, if you sign up for the race, your board will be taken to every race venue.
Exactly. So we'll have much more of a really cool offering for the athletes in the sense of they'll be signing up for the tour. Their board goes to every location on tour, and they get all the benefits that will come from.
Can you take two boards? Can you take one for the sprint and one for the distance? Are you allowed to have a tour of two?
Yeah. Okay. It'll be two boards that you can take everywhere. That's I think going to transform the game and make the global tour a lot more achievable because at the moment it's challenging. With a brand like Starboard has a lot of boards everywhere, which makes it easier for guys. But some of the smaller brands don't have that luxury, and it's difficult to get boards around. So this will really make it achievable for everyone, and I think allow a real surge of growth for the sport globally. So that's what we're looking to do for there. For Paris and Alicante, we'll the boards that were in London, they'll be going to Paris and Alicante for those athletes, and then the boards will get transported from Alicante to Saudi Arabia. So those attending that race in Alicante will be able to have transport from there to Jeddah.
This is all the open women. This is the open women's race. We're in the pink. They're staying in a group. Again, it looks like the tide's dropped or the surf picked up a little, or the wind is just pushing the waves a little bit more because there's I didn't see any breaking waves in the men's race. And the women always get a little bit extra exciting. That's normally what happens in most events. The women get the extra win or the little bump or something extra to mess them up a little. So this definitely looks like April.
Yeah, just really smooth, relaxed stroke there, just powering our way around this course.
So what's after this race? You guys have the awards tonight for the men and the women on the beach?
Yeah, we've got plenty more stuff to come. Actually, we've got a 1 kilometer race for multiple divisions, so entry level kid stuff. We then have team racing this afternoon, so there's pools of athletes that are partnering with pro athletes to create some fun racing in the afternoon. There's actually prize money on the table, so the pro athletes are highly incentivized to get involved and really engage in kind of creating that connection between the pro athletes and the community here. So a lot more fun stuff to happen. We've got yoga clinics at the pool, and then we've got a big after party later today. So a lot of stuff going on here. It's not just about the single race and then go home. It's definitely a weekend festival.
I mean, that's the best thing about this sport is, if you come down here for the weekend, you might as well hang on the beach all weekend and partake in everything you can. I mean, that's what you're there for, right? And that is why I do love these sports. And a lot of the big races, say in Hawaii, and that sometimes it's just all about the race. Whereas I do like these, same in Doheny, like California sort of started it. That you do the week long, you do the weekend long. You're there from sun up to sundown, Saturday to Sunday. And why would you want to be anywhere else? There's so much time and effort in the setup that it's something you can bring the family to as well. They said you got kids races.
Exactly. I think our concept for growing the sport is we're focused not on just delivering a race. We don't want to just say, look, here's an opportunity for people to come participate. You can do the race and go home, like you said. we want to create a pro spectacle. We want to create an amateur experience where they can come and get involved and do an open race. And, everything from pro kind of competitive amateurs to entry level. And then to have the intro opportunities. Like I said, in London, we had over 1,000 people signed up to do clinics and demos around the event. These are all people who have no involvement yet in the community, but suddenly you have 1,000 more people that are now part of your community. And that's where we see the growth potential. And really, by bringing the sport to the people, you're growing the market, you're growing the opportunity.
Also, what I found is if you get the elite guys doing the clinics is as I found over the years, especially in places like North Carolina, is you do a clinic with enthusiastic, young and old, and then all of a sudden they're fans, spectators of yours, because they've had a personal connection with you and you share a sport you love, and then all of a sudden they're following you at every race. So if an athlete's listening to this and you get asked to do a clinic for if you're at an event, I think it's a wise investment in your fans. Most athletes are looking for sponsors, and if they have more fans and they're more widely known and they get kind of more sponsors, the stand-up sport isn't as big as other sports. So you got to try and find all the little sponsors, and doing clinics is the best way to get that fan base and good friends. And then also you get to meet locals. They take you to secret spots, special spots, and I said that was the best thing about me, was offering my services to clinics, sharing what I know, and the more you share, the more you get back. So so to any athletes listening to that, share. you get more in return than you expect. So.
No, I think that's exactly it. And and I think what we found is you remember that first event in New York where we were under the Statue of Liberty in the Freedom Tower, by the Statue of Liberty and under the Freedom Tower. More people came up and with the big screen and understanding the sport and seeing that it's a performance sport was a revelation to them, because they've traditionally seen it in a leisure atmosphere, people on holiday jumping on an inflatable. Great, and it's one part of the sport, but that connection to a real sport in the same way that other sports are competed creates that unique magic that stand-up paddling has, where you do have a competitive component, there's a performance-driven component to the sport, but there's also a complete leisure component, and it's a really nice mix. So our events we've been able to access those people who were kind of, this is a cool thing to do, to being like, wow, this is really inspirational, and become avid fans, like you said, and not just innocent bystanders.
It wouldn't be a bad idea to maybe somehow on the APP portal or webpage to people, if they want to do a clinic, like write down which athlete they would like to do a clinic with at Paris or Europe, and and just have a little thing going, because I'm sure people would jump on that if they could choose their athlete to have a talk to, even if it's one-on-one or five or a bunch of friends. It might go a long way. So that's something to think about for the APP. Offering that on their website and seeing, keeping it live and seeing what happens. And it might become a normal thing. And then obviously then it can become obviously most people who are getting information on sport they love are happy to, pay for it. Just not, the athletes don't charge that much to do clinics normally.
No, exactly, and that's it's funny you should say that. It's been something we've been working on. We were working on it through COVID, and we've taken a little pause while we get everything back up and running this year. But we're pushing hard towards some big things for the next year, exactly in that direction of how can we provide more opportunity for fans and communities globally, but also more opportunity for athletes to be able to create supplemental income both at events and around events. So we're definitely looking at how we can grow the ecosystem so that it works for both athletes and the community, so that the athletes can actually create a real career and have a great time and travel the world and do their sport.
Make fans. Well, exactly. As you can see, the three women are completely spread apart now. April Zieg's got a very commanding lead. There she is, passing on screen now. As you can tell in the background, Juliet is a comfortable second, and presuming nothing has happened, Chloe's probably a comfortable third. So they're just going through the paces now, just finish their positions.
Yeah, I think looking at that last shot, we actually had them all three on screen at one point, but all going different directions, which shows how far apart they were. April was coming into the beach, Juliet was going out, and Caroline was coming into the beach. But like for on the previous buoy, as we see Caroline there heading out to that second buoy in the chicane, coming down towards the third lap.
She's probably a bit warm, being from Denmark.
Definitely,
Like,
they're not scared of the cold for sure.
No, it'd be good to get. Oh, we've got a rescue here happening. Looks like one of the open paddlers.
Yeah.
Don't know where the paddler is, but the board's safe.
Yeah.
Maybe the paddler's been rescued already. It'd be good to get that enthusiastic Chloe back on air. See where she's at.
Yeah, Holly. I think we were waiting.
Holly.
We had some technical issues with the audio there. She's. I think she's in that boat that we're just seeing coming across the screen now. So it'd be interesting if we can get her on to get the bird's eye view. But here we are back with Caroline.
But as you can tell, as they get tired, their stroke really shortens and they sort of start just tapping, going through the motions. Again, it's just what happens, especially if you're not a distance paddler. She's just basically not limping, but limping home. Obviously, the reason she did this race, knowing she has a chance for the overall win, and if nothing goes bad, she's going to get it. So, playing the numbers game, well done. Obviously, I feel sorry for April, who's very dominant in this race, but again, that is what it is for this event.
No, exactly, and I think obviously Caroline had smartly done the numbers before coming into this race, so she made sure that her start was good and that she kept pace at least for the first part of the course to achieve her objective, which is if she gets a third place, she will take the overall win here.
She will. What do the winners get at this event?
It's a 25,000. It's a 25,000 euro prize purse. So I think it's the overall win is 5,000 euros. So it's a pretty good payday for the win. So it's definitely worth their time.
It's nothing to sneeze at, yeah. Well, April's
No,
got
and
a
then on
nice
top of
little
that-
bump there. Actually.
Yeah, exactly. No, on top of that, the athletes have been so taken care of here. The KPP put up all the international athletes come in. They organized all their transfers for the airport. So really, all they had to do was just arrive. So it's a pretty incredible experience. And like I said, the welcome and hospitality here is second to none. So a really unique opportunity for these athletes to experience somewhere so different from where they're from.
Yeah. Obviously, for some reason, USA and Europe aren't as accommodating or as passionate when you arrive. Obviously, I know when you get to Japan, there's an arm wrestle who's going to pick you up. It's
Exactly.
It's kind of cool. You end up losing your voice by the time you're finished. April's in cruise control right now. Like I said, I'm sure she's had a great experience while she's there. I presume a lot of the athletes are probably leaving tomorrow morning. I mean, there's nothing on Monday yet. It's a regular work day in Korea tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly. I think, basically we're down in Busan, so it's about a 5-hour drive back up to Seoul. You can come by plane, but the connections are complicated. So I think the KPP have put on a bus to take all the athletes back off the airport tomorrow afternoon. Some of the crew's staying. We're doing some stuff with Daniel, who's staying till Tuesday. But yeah, so they'll be heading out tomorrow and back to their respective countries. But it's been a busy last month for all these athletes. There was a European SUP event under the ISA in Denmark, a Euro SUP event, and then they had the Poland, the ICF event they had over there, and then straight to London, and then straight here. So definitely a hectic month for a lot of these paddlers. I know April was starting to feel it with the jet lag and everything as well. So they'll be happy for some rest now.
Yeah, and walk away with 5,000 euros. Not too bad for a weekend's work in a beautiful place.
Exactly.
And the next one, Paris, has the same. Paris and Spain have both the same prize purses.
It's Paris is 12,500. So just because it's a one discipline event, so it'll be we just celebrate the one discipline. But in Alicante will be the full 25,000. So that's the standard. And then Jeddah is actually we're in discussions there, but it'll definitely be a lot more. So that'll be a big one to close the year.
And Jeddah's going to be, you said it's going to be a downwind for the distance.
it'll be a downwind for the distance. So there you get regular winds every day, and it blows down the Red Sea, and it's just beautiful. The water environment there, it's underwater life is one of the most beautiful environments in the world. I mean, it's just magical. And Egypt's long been famous for diving, but it's been a little bit taken over by all the tourism of the last 20-30 years, whereas Saudi Arabia has been complete virgin territory. The water is a new environment for them. So you got this untouched virgin reef, and just incredible environment, and beautiful turquoise water. Everything you'd hope for. So I think it's going to be a great close to the year.
Well, if you're a fan, if you're a Denmark local and you're a fan, your girl's going to win the overall today. Denmark's had a good year this year. They got Tour de France. What was the other thing they won? There was another big sporting event they won as well. I can't remember what it was. And also women's APP.
Exactly. No, it's been a big year for Caroline. Yeah, she actually won the Eurostop sprint as well in Denmark. So they held that at the end of August. So she's had a great year this year, and she's gone from strength to strength.
Yeah, sounds like it. I'm presuming this is, I said I haven't kept track of the laps, we've been too busy talking about APP. Presuming she's on her third lap before the short lap.
Exactly. So we're probably 2/3 of the way through the course.
Hopefully April's pushing herself a little bit here for a training run. Hopefully, obviously thinking of Paris. I think April is more of a sprint specialist than a distance specialist, but obviously just being so strong, you're going to naturally do. Is this the open race? With the different colour jersey? Oh, no, it's orange. Yeah. Couple of local supporters there. Getting kind of tired. So it's hopefully some more women do start lining up at these events to make it, I guess, obviously more spectator. Also makes the racing more challenging. If there's more women in the water, you can't make mistakes. You also can't ever cruise as much, knowing there's more people trying to catch you as such. So April's in cruise control right now. With an easy win here, but again, unfortunately won't take the overall. If you're watching here, sorry, I'm back. You see the difference now between the two techniques. Obviously, as a novice and say a professional. April does make it look easy. She's not under any pressure right now, so she's really just trying to use the body. And this novice paddler is actually quite a good paddler. And you're trying to just what's the word? Find that connection with the water without over trying. So it said no pressure, so she's basically using her body, hopefully setting the blade, and the blade doesn't slip, the blade stays still in the water, and then you just try and skate, push yourself past it. Kind of like you would on ski with a ski pole. The ski pole doesn't move in the snow. So that's sort of essentially what you're trying to do. So when you think of paddling like that, you're not trying to pull the paddle through the water, you're trying to pull yourself past the paddle like skiing. Kind of can change the way you paddle. You might slow down a little bit and not slip as much, so you can grab that full bite and
That's the feel you're after. So April's definitely an efficient paddler, especially right now. She's very strong. Strength does play a big part in this sport. There's definitely the local paddlers, or Hanano on the side of the board. Hanano being the famous and only Tahiti beer. Here we are, passing one of the novice, or I should say open. Oh, here we go now. Sure who that is, sorry.
Sorry. How are we doing here, Travis? Have we had any more updates? Sorry about that. Had to jump out of the booth there for a second.
No, all good. You have to go shishi, did you? That's the polite way of saying potty, but no, April. We're just on April the whole time, and she's just talking technique and how smooth she really is. Obviously not under pressure, so you look good and comfortable. But no, nothing more to report. I was just saying, it'd be nice if there was some more women lining up for these kind of races. I mean, the prize money's there, as you heard. So it'd be good to see some more women, see what they need, I guess, to line up to these events. I said the money's there, the location's there, the support's there. Hopefully the athletes can show up more and like I said, see if they want to do shorter races or longer races or I'm not sure.
Well, I think. Yeah, no, I think this year was an interesting one because COVID's been such an overwhelming thing over the last couple of years, and entry to the Asian markets has been really difficult. And I think just with all the activity that's been going on with Europe, everybody kind of took the easy option for this year. But I think that's about to change. I think we're really trying to facilitate that because we believe in the global growth of the sport and really want to promote participation across all the world. And that being said, we're working also on a project for your part of the world, the original part of the world in Australia. So we're really trying to open it up and make it much more of a global concern. And by creating that logistics solution that we've got in place for 2023, athletes can sign up for a year and just pick their season kind of manage their season properly. And now we're through the COVID changes that we had to go through and all the different implications of operating events in big cities where they can't afford to take any chances, and it made us move and adjust so much. I think we're coming back to a more normal rhythm as we lock in things for 23 through 25. I mean, we're fortunately signing a lot of multi-year deals, which is it's enabling us to create these legacy locations where we're coming back to.
Yeah, I mean, you're taking the board's always been the most logistic challenging thing for most athletes. So if you do take that out of the equation and you're two boards or one board, you go to every event, then that's huge. I mean, that's a game changer if you ask me. And then hopefully the athletes can afford to go to places, or if in some events, like I said, APP, that guy will help you with logistics from the airport, all those things. And that's a good shot. Yeah, look at this. The cameras. So yeah, that would be huge moving forward. And again, once people are aware of that, some athletes might, again, like my favourite thing with racing was, I enjoy competing and doing well. But my favourite thing was going to these events, meeting the people, going to go to these new places and have a blast and do something you love with like-minded people. So it's nearly a no-brainer. I can't go on holiday unless there's a reason. I can't just go sit on the beach for no reason. That's what lifeguards do, really. Even lifeguards have got a reason to be there. So if I'm going to go to this beach, I'd love to be doing it with around a bunch of athletes doing this great sport. And why wouldn't you want to do a world tour for the locations that APP is putting on next year, which will be released soon.
Yeah, exactly. No, we're looking to release quite soon. We've been in discussions with all our regions. Hopefully by the end of October, we'll be releasing our final calendar, and that will be cemented and locked in. We've been suffering a few changes over the last year because of the COVID, the dynamic situation created by COVID. Yeah. But I think we're in a really good spot now. We're working with all these amazing host cities. So it's going to be a pretty amazing lineup actually for next year. I'm excited about it. It's going to definitely be a game changer year for us.
Oh, fantastic. Hopefully a bunch of people watching today can, once it gets released, share. I guess that the sports in themselves are definitely building back up now that you're able to travel. outrigger canoe paddling's the same. Every sport took a few years off, 2 years off. So now I think it's going to come back with a vengeance. Brands are definitely ready to support. So, but who's this? This is back with Juliet.
Juliet, yeah. Juliet is still going strong. She's looking a little tired though, I will say. This is probably coming to the tail end of her second lap.
The chop will get you. The chop will get you. She's also on a borrowed board as well. Don't forget.
Although she is, it's probably very similar to her board because it is an Infinity. And I think they've kept their range the same for a couple of years. So I believe she's probably on a similar board to what she normally uses. And yesterday in the sprint, she looked very comfortable. I think she was very used to how the board performs.
Yes. Fantastic.
And Travis, are you still involved in the board design and supporting the NSP brand, or have you sort of taken a bit more of a backseat in that regard?
Yeah, that was back on. Obviously, I like Infinity as a brand. Dave's tried really well to sort of put his own designs together, and that with NSP, the NSP from day one, they started a race division. So we started from scratch with Elaine and myself and Dale Chapman, and so for 10 years or so I was involved with designs and helping with designs, and I sort of like to tell everyone this is my job was the athlete was to paddle fast. My job wasn't to tell the designer how to design boards, so my job was to give feedback. So you hear a lot of people saying, oh, the board should do this, the board should do this, they should that, but my feedback was more like, I feel like I'm doing this, and I'd love it if the board if I could slide a little more down a bump, a cross chop, or if I feel like a little skatey at front sometimes. I'd say what the board's doing, I'd say what I would like the board to do as an athlete as we're growing, and then I'll let the designer figure that out. So we sort of had a great relationship because I didn't tell him what to design, I told him what I need the board to do, and this is in the early days. So it was very fun. I feel like NSP had a huge board advantage over the years, and I'm not involved anymore. T2's taken that role of mine of giving Elaine the feedback and the designs. We still have the designs from our first board. Each design has gone through a process, so I can go back to every board we've had and would go, if it was a little bit better, we'd keep it. If it was worse, we'd go back to the next one and keep changing it incrementally. So it's been a really cool process in that board design, and we didn't just throw haymakers left, right and center. We really were methodical about it, and now I think we have the best all-round board, the Carolina, that you can make. Shrimpy uses it. He's not sponsored by NSP. He's just bought his own boards, and that's what he chooses to race, which is a compliment to the designer. So I know Infinity's trying to do similar. They've got a core following. They've got quite a nice group of athletes, and I do like them. SIC have a core following. They're being pretty much one of the first brands to exist. SIC being from Maui, Sandwich Island Composites, which is a cool name. And then obviously you've got the big dogs like Starboard, who been my competition the whole life. So that's a long way of answering the question.
No, exactly. Well, I think Starboard's done a great job of growing and really becoming a dominant brand in the space. But as you say, NSP has been really consistent at delivering quality boards. Seeing T1's performances always is impressive. I know he's still very much involved. And then Infinity, I know, like you said, you mentioned Shrimpy choosing his boards. He's taken a bit of a Kai Lenny approach to saying, look, I'm going to ride what I want to ride. And he's, he kind of has his distance board as the NSP, and he chooses Infinity for sprints. So
very true.
He kind of, so he's kind of gotten a unique approach, and it works for him.
It's a good example. I used to tell people this too. Is like, what's more important, getting a free board or winning a race? So if you just want to get a free ride, then you could join whatever brand's offering you. But if you actually want to win a race, then you either talk with the designers and you work with them, or you find what board you have the best chance of winning a race. So it sounds weird because a lot of people in the day were just after free stuff, and then the serious ones, like myself and that, were no. I'm not here for the free board. I'm here to win a race. And so what can I do to make that work? And so I had a great relationship with NSP. That's why I joined them, and we started this race program. It was a tall order at first, but it ended up, you get the right people. It's great. So
I admire guys like Shrimpy for doing that. They said that he's after the results. So you can see obviously after the race he was a little upset because he's competitive. You know, he's not here for the sushi like I am now. He's here for the W and yeah, I'm going to work harder to get it next time. So I appreciate those competitors because I obviously was one of them, but at the same time, these kind of races have something for everything. They have it for the elites, and then for everyone else, they've got the food, the discos, the social scene, so the clinics. So yeah, so it's got something for everything.
Exactly. And speaking of another big brand, Fanatic obviously has done a lot to support as well over the years. Arthur being their leading light, obviously. He's traditionally done really well. He was 2018 world champion, and you've had a couple of big races against Arthur, no?
Yeah, I love that kid Arthur. He's messed me up on some big races too by accident, but then you can't be angry at him because he's such a nice guy. He's like, oh, I'm sorry. I've enjoyed watching him grow. He started from the beginning as a young kid, Connor age, but he had a lot of respect for me, so obviously I gave a lot of respect back, and I said, unfortunately he's at a windsurfing contest this weekend, I believe, which is why he's not here. But yeah, no, he's a great addition to the sport. He's been Fanatic's star from day one. Still doing well with them, and it's good to see. And it's good to see all the brands having one or two players in the top. I do like that with obviously Fanatic, NSP, Starboard. Nash have gone a little quiet. I'm not sure why. Ever since they kind of lost Kai Lenny.
Casper's their big champion. Obviously, he's taken a bit of a sabbatical this year after paddling around Denmark and all the various adventures. He's been good. Yeah, I think that took its toll and then rolled straight into getting married. And I think it was the right time for him to just take a little break. But I think he's going to be back, re-energized for next year. That's kind of what he was saying.
Yeah. No, I mean, I said the sport's still got. I mean, some iconic stars now. Casper's been there since day one as well. So hopefully he stays involved, which I'm sure he will. But just a shot then, we just saw the three people real briefly, quickly together. Said April 1st, Julia is second, and Caroline is still third. I'm not sure after that what the positions are.
I think it is. I believe it is. Choi Ji-won in fourth. But we haven't had a close view of her, so we'll check on that.
Almost.
I was almost.
So this is their. Yeah, exactly. Oh, you're getting nervous now. Again, the legs will just be burning, hearts through the roof. You got to control this big board falling off there. It's even more. It's for the buoy. Look at that. See, the buoy's being washed in. It's even harder to control your board in these. It's even more fatiguing doing what she's doing.
Right.
Than relaxing surfing. But again, you've got to do what you've got to do to. That buoy's right on the sandbank there. Good.
Yeah.
Obviously, the tide must be dropping. I'm guessing.
Yes, I think so, and and just that wind picking up, pushing a little bit more wind swell in, so creating a good little obstacle on the inside. It seemed like she chose exactly the right moment. To hit that inside section as April's coming around the mark for the last time. She'll be going out for her 1 kilometer sprint round. Sprint lap.
A short lap. Well done.
Very leisurely pace now. So she's actually a whole leg ahead of Juliet. We just saw Juliet on the inside mark, so Juliet still has to go out and come in to get to where April is. So impressive lead there from April.
Yeah, so hopefully some of the women or some of the younger generation women, I know there's a few paddlers in Australia, but again, Australia's so far away. It is a big ask travelling around the world and travelling back to Australia. That's why there's not as many Aussie athletes as there used to be. I'm sure, like you said, after COVID, they hopefully might pick it back up. Where was I going with that?
Yes. Well, Australia's another complicated. That's been another complicated territory for COVID restrictions. So I think they're still kind of recovering from the fact that they couldn't leave for 2 years, pretty much.
They sort of went, one extreme to the other. They went full lockdown like New Zealand, thinking, we got this under control, and all of a sudden like, screw it, should be right, and opened the whole country up. They sort of went from one extreme to the other. That's basically, in a nutshell, how it went. So they're completely open. There's no such thing as even remnants of COVID, but yeah, I mean, again, it was all the unknown. Every country took their own different approach. Obviously, USA is sort of completely just abandoned it. Like, it's no longer exists. Hawaii was probably the last state to adopt. Believe it or not, Hawaii's been very strict with COVID up until recently. Which is surprising. Again, long, strong Asian influence in Hawaii, so maybe that was the reason why, because a lot of the Asian countries have been more cautious in general, as we've found. But
I think it was also because, being an island nation, so well, not an island nation, but technically, if there is some kind of accelerated growth in numbers and over hospital cases, some of the outer islands would have a real problem recovering. And I think that was their biggest fear, was such a big tourism influx that they just didn't want to get to the point where there's a lot of deaths happening. And, with all the tourists that come into Hawaii on a daily basis, that's a real concern.
Yeah, I mean, the last time that happened, I guess, was with the explorers. They bring in the boat and they decimate a whole little island. So rightly so. Good point. The hospitals on islands cannot have the capacity, whereas on the mainland they can spread out across states. But yeah, so I said, I mean, this COVID thing does look like it's behind us. Hopefully there isn't a resurgence and everyone shuts down again. Hopefully it is under control. That's what we want as avid travellers and obviously lovers of travellers. That's why we do this sport. That's the reason I got into sports, was to travel, to go see the world, and again, not just see it on the beach, to see it from, say, as an athlete or a different point of view. That's why we do these sports, and that's why these girls are here. And it's great to see them there. And again, even though there's only a handful of them, it's still a competition and it's still a legitimate race. So hopefully people watch this and want to join them and say, I can keep up with her and try and go prove it and have a fun time while they're at it. So
Exactly. It was interesting. I was speaking to one of the leading members of the Spanish in Marbella. You probably remember Laura Ketglas. She actually rides for NSP as well, but she has a whole team of young kids that are really amping and ready to go on. They'll be on tour next year, which is exciting to see. I think there's groups who are looking at this, especially with the logistical plan. I think it'll make a big difference as we see Caroline, turning that inside mile.
She's pumped. You see how stoked she was?
Yeah.
So this looks like April on the way in, yeah? This is Oh, I got one more buoy. One more buoy to turn, sorry.
Yeah, she'll come into the inside buoy, then one turn on the the little bit further outside buoy, and then straight into the finish line.
Gee, that kilometre short lap isn't that short, actually.
No, it doesn't feel that short. It feels like, I know Anthony measured the whole course, so it was 10K, so there might have been a variance. Maybe the long laps are a little shorter, or I'm not sure. But yeah, still seems, especially from this angle, it looks like they've got a ways to go still.
Yeah. We're almost there. You said after this, there's a couple of 1 kilometre sprints. They're doing just the short race for everyone?
Not for the pros, so this will be more entry-level open participation early this straight after this. Then we go into this team racing format. I think they've got a relay, and they've got actually the kind of subsequent team boards as well. So there's some fun racing still to come this afternoon, and really mixing pros with the community, getting people engaged. So I think it'll be a lot of fun.
Oh, nice bump there from April. Yeah, those team races, team relays or sub-squatches there, I mean, that's this sport, especially with this kind of beach, it really lends itself to that, and they really are fun. I mean, that's, again, it's the people, sometimes not the place, and so if you get to mix in with locals, I mean, I remember one event we did, the race would draw people's names out of the hat, so that, obviously every pro would, and you had to race with people you never met before, and it was, it was fun for the pros as well as the people on the beach, and it's, again, like, it's kind of like reminds you of school sports, but you've had your fun, you've had your elite race, and now you can mix in and do some team races. And this venue definitely lends itself to that. Obviously, Paris and other places won't lend itself to that kind of racing, oh, that's good to hear you're doing that. And I said, I kind of wish I was there. I could jump out of the commentary booth and go for a paddle again. That's what I would have done.
Exactly. Well, we're certainly looking forward to seeing more of you this year, Travis. It's great to have you in the booth anyway, but getting you there in person is always more fun, having a beer on location and a good time.
Yeah, I mean, that's what the sport's all about. So for some reason, April was looking over her shoulder, I guess, to make sure she's going to the right buoy or the right way, making sure no one's yelling the wrong way. So again, passing through all the open races, so I believe would also be on their last lap. They should be coming in as well.
Yeah, so she'll be turning this last buoy and coming into the finish line here. So yeah, been definitely a dominant year for April this year. Only distance she hasn't won was London, and she was second. So in the sprints, she had 2 wins. Obviously didn't win yesterday, so she's 2 wins apiece out of the 3 for a sprint and distance. So pretty solid showing so far this year.
Yeah, and good on her. I mean, so she's pushed for it. She's focused on this. I think she also won Carolina, I believe, earlier in the year.
She did, and I think,
mistaken.
I'd say the one that I'm looking forward to see come back, or a couple of them, is Fiona Wild, who had a big shoulder injury, so that's prevented her from following the tour this year. Might be there at the latter stages, Paris and Alicante, but we'll wait to see on that. Also, Seychelles Webster, obviously, who, here's our winner.
Easy, and they said there's yep, so easy win not easy win, don't take it lightly, she's an athlete. For April, congratulations.
But yeah, no, I'm looking forward to seeing Seychelles back in action next year. She took a year off, obviously she just had a child, making the most of that experience, but I think ready to get back to competition. From what I heard, I think we'll be seeing her back in action for the 2023 season.
Wow.
So, a few of those girls returning, which would be good, and obviously the perennial champ, Candice Appleby, always going to be interesting to see where she finishes up. And there looks like an excited. Is that an excited?
Yeah, very excited open paddler. That's what it's all about. Just one of the open paddlers. Just again, high five all the friends. It's like this is awesome. She'll that's what it's all about. It really is just doing that race, finishing. Obviously, April's more competitive. Open paddler's gone. Open paddler's gone to celebrate with their friends. That's what she's doing.
Well, it's definitely the place to do it. It's a good environment down here, and there's certainly going to be some fun this afternoon.
Korea's super safe too. There? Yeah, I mean, like Japan, it's like super safe around there.
1,000%. You can leave your laptop sitting on the side on the beach, and it'll still be there 3 hours later.
Yeah, I've heard that.
It's a really trusting population, and I think it's a great place to visit. Honestly, it's a beautiful country, and this area of Busan is stunning. It's definitely my favorite zone I've seen so far here. And there's actually an island further to the south where we're looking at maybe doing some surfing stuff. It's called Teju Island, I think. It's about an hour or 2 south, a bit more tropical, a little bit more like Okinawa kind of setup. And they get some more waves. Because here it's a little bit blocked from the swell.
Looks like a bay. I had a friend in Korea. They fell asleep they waiting for a bus or a bench, and their wallet fell on the floor. And then people actually pick up their wallet and try and put it back in their pocket. That's how trusting and incredible it is. Like, like you drop this and trying to help, and I was like, wow, that wouldn't happen in London or New York.
No, that's for sure. I was thinking, we parked at the center of Tokyo in one of the main streets. We were going into a store, and as I ran in, I realized I'd left my laptop on the dashboard, and the window was open. Oh, that was Juliet finishing, right?
Argentinian flag. Obviously, the South Americans, as we see, are very passionate, which is awesome to see. So are the Aussies. But again, so you should. I like that.
So
really good race.
Great performance from Juliet.
So what does that mean for the overall? What did Juliet get in the sprints?
Juliet got second in the sprint, so she's got 2 apiece. So providing Caroline doesn't fall, she'll be first overall, and April will actually be second overall because she had a win
wins more
in the distance. Yeah, exactly. And then Juliette will be third. And third seems to be a lucky number this year. She's been third in London, third in California. So that seems to be a position overall. She'll be in a good spot. She'll be second overall for the year after this race. So she's in a good place. And she's in a good headspace too. Really happy-go-lucky. Her and Itzel are definitely the life and soul of the body. Everywhere you go, they're super happy.
South Americans, it's awesome.
Yeah, very passionate people.
So, just she'll be on her last short lap. Is this a top Korean lady?
I think this is that's an open athlete going. This is Caroline Kunzel coming in, so she's now going to be our Busan SUP Open champion with her third place finish here. I'm sure she's done the math, so she knows exactly where it's at. She's going to be one happy Danish champion today.
Yes, congratulations. I just know what's going on.
Yeah, definitely a great moment for Caroline. She's going to be really happy with that. And in the center of the picture there, you'll see David. He's our lead contact with KAPP, with the shaved head there. He's kind of our point person for Andrew Park, who is the CEO. So David is French actually, but his name's Leighton. So his parents were Portuguese, but he was raised in France, and now he lives here with his Korean wife and works with the KAPP team.
He speaks 3 languages, 4 languages.
I think he speaks 4, I think at least. So he's definitely a multilingual personality. So he's a great guy, really hard worker, really conscientious, and does a great job at making all this stuff happen together with the team.
Oh, fantastic!
But their team spirit over here is fantastic. At one point they were trying to come over for one of the other events, and there was COVID restrictions. David didn't have a vaccine, and so they were basically hang on, actually we'll come back to that. We're going to go down to Holly, who's on the beach with the winner of the distance race. Let's hear it from Holly.
Enthusiastic Holly.
Yeah.
April Zil. April, tell me everything. How was the race?
It was great. It was just such a beautiful course. It's just surreal to be paddling in Korea. Same with all stops on the World Tour. Even last weekend paddling, in London past Parliament and Big Ben, and here paddling past this beautiful bridge. It almost felt a little like some San Francisco races I've done, but a little, I don't know, maybe prettier?
Ooh. And tell us about the conditions. It was very choppy out there.
Yeah, the closer you got to the bridge, there was actually a really strong longshore drift, from your right shoulder to your left shoulder, pulling you left along the course. But the wind was coming the opposing direction, so yeah, it chopped it up pretty rough out there. So my goal today was to stay on the board, having learned yesterday. So step 1, stay on the board, like I said earlier, and step 2, make sure you stay on course. So.
And I guess there was kind of 2 facets of that race. There was the endurance, but there was also the technical ability with the buoy turns and the beach runs and the flag turns, and that kind of plays into all your strengths, would you say?
It does, but again, being, jet lagged and on an unfamiliar board, a lot of those strengths are taken away from you. It becomes more of a mental game, but sometimes you can have all the positive self-talk in the world, you can still face plant. So it's hard to say, and you never know, but the unfamiliar board, I was definitely safe going around the turns, and even then, at the end of the race, as the tide started to drop, the waves on the inside red buoy started to break, and my legs were a little fatigued from, not a lot of sleep, definitely a long race in the chop on an unfamiliar board, and it was okay, I fell in, it was hot anyway, but, it was a tough course. There's a lot going on.
Yeah. So. And you were almost uncatchable from the get-go. As soon as you did that beach start, you were ahead, and you just kept increasing and increasing that gap. What's your secret?
Aerobic base. So, it was definitely my strategy. I wanted to get an early lead, and I wanted to relax. I didn't want an insanely high heart rate for an hour. I have a lot of other things coming, in the calendar. I've come off a long season, so I know you know, when I'm feeling strong and when I'm feeling weak, and I know how to listen to my body. It's something that comes with age. And I really wanted a comfortable race, so I decided to kind of pin it to the first buoy and try to relax into it, and again be safe on those turns on that unfamiliar board, and just cruise. So,
Well, big congratulations to you, April. Now you can go relax.
we're gonna go.
She was third, right?
Today?
I think me and Juliet, you should join us.
And me too, I think. Anyway, back to you guys in the studio.
I know.
Well done, Caroline.
Great to hear. Yeah, great
Yep.
to hear from. Great to hear from April there. What's your takeaway from that interview there?
Well, actually, it was interesting. She said there was a whatever longshore drift. Like I remember seeing near the bridge. Obviously, the wind was changing out there. Obviously, I saw all the sailboats out there. So it's something you don't notice when you're watching the TV. But yeah, there were boats sailing around, and the conditions were different when she was out by the bridge. And then when you get back into the bay, the wind would obviously do its own thing, swirl or come on shore. So again, not that it means anything, but as an athlete, she could sort of feel her surroundings and felt the conditions changing out there, which is good to know. She obviously, very dominant. Was a very stress-free race. She's obviously happy with her result. But yeah, I said we'll talk about something else. But yeah, well done, April, not Caroline. But well done also, Caroline, for the overall win. And as you can see, a few of the backmarkers are coming in now to round out the women's race. And then you can see the people, looks like is it amateur for the sprint race, getting ready now in the white bibs.
Now we have the 1K races that are getting ready. So there's going to be a series of 1K races. We're not going to bring those live, but a lot of participation still to come today, and we'll have this team racing this afternoon. So make sure you'll have the full highlights later with a glimpse of everything. But it's plenty of action still to come here today.
Fantastic. Well, thank you, Tristan. I actually have to said I'm not down there, unfortunately, on the beach. I know I was supposed to be down there. I couldn't make it either last minute, so I need to attend to the life at home, my family, kids, and I'll hopefully see you again next race.
Well, Travis, it's been a real pleasure having you in the booth. Thank you so much for joining us. It's always amazing to get your insight and experience from all the years of doing exactly what we're doing here today. Really appreciate it. Thanks for the time for the family, and hopefully we'll have you in person at the next races, and look forward to it.
Yeah, that sounds great. Keep up the great work. See you next time.
Thanks, mate. Thanks, Travis.
Thanks, guys.
And we'll keep on the action here as we wait for the last few people to come in, and then we'll be right back. Just stay with us. So sorry for the short break there. We had some discussions here. It was great to have Travis Grant in the booth giving us the blow-by-blow. Just such a mine of information on SUP racing, mental challenges and struggles of athletes in the field, and just really getting that deeper perspective on what the athletes go through in this kind of race. But we're getting ready to go back down to the beach again to speak with Caroline Kunzel, who finished third in this distance race. An impressive performance from the Danish athlete. Really, really mind-blowing performance. So very impressive. So we'll be standing by for that. So just stand by and we'll be right down on the beach in just a second. So we're back and we're going to be going straight down to the beach to catch up with Holly, who is currently with Caroline Kunzel from Denmark.
Second in the distance race. Juliet, how was the race?
Wow, it was pretty choppy. I'm super stoked. My Blackfish Infinity worked very well, paddle as well. I'm just really happy to be here, and I'm glad I came in second.
And it was a very technical race. It was also about endurance. What part of that race was tough for you and what part came easily?
I think the upwind was kind of tricky going out that way. Then when we had it kind of like on our side, that was fun. There was some bumps out there, so it was pretty fun to glide. And I think another one of the trickiest one was the buoy that was right on the shore. I fell in on the second lap, I think. The other ones were fine, but yeah, I mean, just stoked, and all my glory, as I say, always goes to God.
And second in the sprints, second in the distance. This has been an amazing weekend for you. How does it feel, and did you expect to do this well?
Yeah, wow. I'm really excited. I've been surprising myself on this tour. It's my first actual APP World Tour, so really happy, and I'm just going for the overall at the end of the year and just enjoying my journey.
And what are you going to do to celebrate?
I'm going to rest. I'm going to eat, just enjoy it. My next race is the sprints in the ISAs World Championship in Puerto Rico, so just keep training for that, and yeah.
And let's just talk about this venue a little bit, because I was on the boat and I just thought, wow, this bridge is so beautiful. Did you manage to look up at it and take it all in?
Yeah, for sure. That bridge right there is really cool. This whole city is actually awesome because you have like a big city, but then you have the ocean, so you have like all the mana and just really nice people, and yeah, I'm really, really excited.
Well, congratulations, rest up, and I will see you later. Well done, and back to you guys in the studio. Thank you, babe.
Thank you, Holly. Great to hear from Juliet there. So the official standings, actually, we just done the calculations for the top three. In first place is, in fact, Caroline Kunzel from Denmark. She's got a first in the sprint racing and a third in the distance, which is 16,500 points, because she gets 10,000 for the win, 6,500 for the third place. In second place, it's Juliet Duhaime from Argentina. She gets 8,000 points for second place in each division, so that's 16,000 overall. And in third place, April Zilg, who we just watched dominating that distance race with 10,000 points, but fourth place in the distance, in the sprint racing yesterday, so that's 5,750 points, so a total of 15,750. So pretty tight at the top there, just 16,500 for Caroline, 16,000 for Juliet, and April at 15,750. But a great performance by these incredible athletes. I'm sure we'll be getting a word pretty soon here with Caroline Kunzel, as we'll wait to get those final words before wrapping up this webcast for today. But in the meantime, I just wanted to say thank you so much to all our partners here at the Busan SUP Open, in particular our partners on the ground, KAPP, the City Council of Seonggu, and obviously Busan itself, the broader city. The mayor of Busan was down here yesterday. So excited to have the APP World Tour to his beautiful city. And what a backdrop this is, what a venue this has been. A massive build out, a real festival here with activities from 7 in the morning till late night. So it's full days here, a lot of things going on and a lot of fun. And as I said, our local organizers been so hospitable to our visiting athletes, really taking care of them, giving them a very unique experience that they won't forget. But while we're on that, I wanted to once again give a shout out to our two athletes who are here to compete and weren't able to compete due to testing positive on arrival for COVID. But fortunately, neither of them are really sick, but unfortunately very strict guidelines with regards to their COVID policy here. So they were unable to join us in the competition. So Christian Andersen from Denmark, one of the bright young stars on the tour, a fanatic athlete, phenomenal athlete and a great ambassador for the sport. We miss having you here, Christian, this weekend, but we'll know you'll be back in force in Paris and Alicante. He's definitely a star of the future, and I'm sure we'll be celebrating Caroline's win today for the hometown, as will Casper Steinfath, our 2019 world champion. So Casper taking a sabbatical year this year to take in everything that's happened in his life over the last few years. And then, of course, Kalen Lockhart, who's an amazing character from Australia. I love the guy. He's really exciting to have him on tour, and unfortunate, he made it all the way out here, wasn't able to compete. But we're going down to the beach in a second here to check out the start for a kids race. It's a 1 kilometer race, just to see the excitement around the sport and the kids getting involved in the sport. But yeah, Kalen, really disappointing. He couldn't compete. He's been really strong. He did well in London, almost really well, had an unfortunate fall in the sprint race that kind of prevented him from going through. But he's definitely a name to watch out for. Rides for NSP, one of their lead global riders, and just such a character, likable guy. You can't help but love him. So yeah, unfortunately those two weren't able to compete. Rai Taguchi, unfortunately, he had COVID very recently, so he had a recovery certificate, which enabled him to be released from quarantine, which ended up being one of the more magical things for the young talent from Okinawa, winning both the distance and the sprint. What a performance by this incredible young athlete. And then Caroline, obviously, from Denmark, winning the women's overall. And a shout out also to Shrimpy, incredible performance by Shrimpy. As we see the kids race lining up here. This is a 1 kilometer course. A lot of young talent here. You can see the community out in force. The APP pool in the background there, where all kinds of activities have been going on through the weekend. A very vibrant atmosphere here in Korea, a lot of excitement. It feels like the early days of stand-up back in California. So exciting to see where the sport's going to go here over the next few years. I've got high hopes and excited to be part of this story for this region. So as we come to the tail end of this broadcast, we want to thank you all for joining us. But I think we're going to throw down to Holly, who I believe is with our overall Busan SUP Open champion. So over to you, Holly. Let's hear from the champ down on the beach.
Okay, so I'm here with Denmark's Caroline Kunzel, and I'm not even sure if she knows this, but she's our overall champion for the Busan SUP Open. How does it feel?
It feels so good, and I didn't count on this in any way when I arrived here.
And Caroline just came up on stage and she said, "Do you know if I've won the overall?" And I said, "Oh, I don't know, but I did know." So I was waiting to get on camera. So congratulations, tell us about that race.
The race was super hard. As you might know, I don't like distance, and I felt like this race was super long already after the second lap. I was like, please let me complete this. So I just kept hanging on back on the back of Juliet, and then let her go and tried to just stay in third place to hopefully secure some points. So it was not as bad as I thought, but it was not nice either. So, but yeah, it was super good.
And I saw you were battling with Juliet for quite a while. You were holding on for second place, and were you just exhausted, or were you just like, okay, I'm just gonna play my own race?
I tried to hang on to her, and then I started to get a little bit exhausted, and I was like, okay, if I want to make sure I complete the race, I didn't know how much energy I had. I've not done a long distances. I've not done a long distance in such a long time, so I just wanted to make sure that I completed the race. So the right decision was definitely to just go on my own and make sure I had some energy for the end.
And there was a lot of technical elements to that race as well, which is obviously something you're very good at, like the buoy turns, the beach start, the turns in the sand. Do you think that played to your strengths in this race?
Yeah, a little bit, and then, I don't know, I did some mistakes under the way. I think I was just exhausted from all the laps, so usually in a sprint I have all the energy I need to do the right technical elements, but this time I was a little bit tired, so I need to train on that if I want to do long distance and do buoy turns, but it wasn't too bad, so.
And just tell me, you're overall champion, it was your first win on the APP World Tour yesterday, and now you've been crowned an overall of such a huge event in the calendar. How does it feel? I know you didn't expect it, but are there more wins to come for you?
Hopefully there is. I'll definitely try my best. I'm not sure if I'm going to do the distance again, but maybe if there's a race like this, I'll try. So, I don't know. maybe we'll see in the future.
And just tell me how it's been coming to Korea, a little bit about that. I mean, the venue has been amazing, I'm sure you'll agree. And what's it been like for you?
It's so different here compared to Europe, so I definitely had to get used to the environment here, but I like that it's a little bit warmer than Denmark. I feel good in a t-shirt and shorts and not being worried about freezing when racing, and this venue is just incredible, so yeah, it's nice.
Perfect. Well, congratulations, Caroline. What are you going to do to celebrate? What are you going to spend your prize money on?
I don't know, I need to figure that out. Maybe upgrading my car or something, I don't know.
A sports car?
No, maybe just getting an air condition for my car now.
Well, she knows how to party this one. Congratulations to Caroline. And yeah, back to you guys in the studio.
Thank you, Holly. Great to hear from Caroline Kunzel, our Busan SUP Open champion for 2022. What a great performance, obviously, in the sprints, taking the win, just hanging on there in the distance to make sure she did what she needed to get the overall points and take the overall win here. So great performance from Caroline, but a big shout out to April Zilg for a dominating performance in this distance race, and for Juliet for her sheer consistency across sprint and distance. The Argentinian definitely going to be a driving force this year on the tour. And in the men's division, what a performance from Rai Taguchi, really drawing on the inner samurai, it feels like, just with that outstanding performance yesterday in the final of the sprints, and then really putting on a dominant display here today in the distance. No mistakes, pushing early and really leading the race. Shrimpy, a great event by him as well. Unfortunately had that incident on the turn point of the second lap that kind of made him lose the draft train from Ryan. He wasn't able to catch back up and make that happen, but a great performance nonetheless. The kid is only 16 years old, which is hard to believe. Rai just 18 or 19. So these guys are the future. They're definitely incredible talents leading the Asia region, and it's great to see them do so well close to home. That's about it from here in Busan. We thank you all for joining us. We thank you to all our partners you can see behind me here. A big thank you to the KAPP for the phenomenal organization and put together of this event. All the athletes feel like superstars. The community has welcomed them so wholeheartedly. It's been an incredible experience here in Busan. So a big thank you to everyone. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time. Rendezvous in Paris for racing on the 3rd and 4th of December. The actual race itself will be on the 4th. We will be live broadcasting from the River Seine with over 1,000 people on the water going in front of some of the most beautiful landmarks in the world. And then, of course, surfing is back. We have one major event for this year. We had to scale back a little bit because of changes in schedules and what have you. But it will be in Gran Canaria, Las Palmas de Gran Canaria, from the 19th to the 27th of November. That'll be our single World Tour event for this year, and it'll lead to a full tour for 2023, actually starting in Sunset, where we had planned to end this year. We decided to start the season in January at Sunset Beach, where it all started back in 2010, one of our legacy venues here on the World Tour. So thank you again for joining us. We look forward to seeing you soon, and until then, aloha.